Radio Biafra International, empowering the people. Radio Biafra International, empowering the people.
Stop spending time with the wrong people. Life is too short to spend time with people who suck the happiness out of you. If someone wants you in their life, they'll make room for you. You shouldn't have to fight for a spot. Never ever insist yourself to someone who continuously overlooks your worth. And remember, it's not the people that stand by your side when you're at your best, but the ones who stand beside you when you're at your worst that are your true friends. Stop trying to be someone you're not. One of the greatest challenges in life is being yourself in a world that's trying to make you like everyone else. Someone will always be prettier. Someone will always be smarter. Someone will always be younger. But they will never be you. Don't change so people will like you. Be yourself, and the right people will love the real you. Stop trying to hold on to the past. You cannot start the next chapter of your life if you keep rereading the last one. Stop being scared to make a mistake. Doing something and getting it wrong is at least 10 times more productive than doing nothing. Every success has a trail of failures behind it, and every failure is leading towards success. You end up regretting the things you did not do far more than the things you did. Stop getting involved in relationships for the wrong reasons. Relationships must be chosen wisely. It is better to be alone than to be in bad company. There's no need to rush. If something is meant to be, it will happen at the right time, with the right person, and for the best reason. Stop rejecting new relationships just because old ones didn't work. In life, you'll realize that there's a purpose for everyone you meet. Some will test you, some will use you, and some will teach you. But most importantly, some will bring out the best in you. Stop trying to compensate against things that are not there. And stop trying to compete against everyone else. Don't worry about what others are doing better than you. Concentrate on beating your own records every day. Success is a battle between you and yourself only. I just have to repeat this. This warrants a repeat. Stop trying to compete against everyone else. Don't worry about what others are doing better than you. Concentrate on beating your own records every day. Success is a battle between you and yourself only. Life is too short to spend time with people who suck the happiness out of you. If someone wants you in their life, they'll make room for you. You shouldn't have to fight for a spot. Never, ever insist yourself to someone who continuously overlooks your worth. And remember, it's not the people that stand by your side when you're at your best, but the ones who stand beside you when you're at your worst, that are your true friends.
Radio Biafra is proud to launch its new mobile app. This app makes it easier for listeners to access live and repeat broadcasts at any given time. The app is available on Android and Apple stores and is free to install, so just search for Radio Biafra into all one word to get the app on your device.
Radio Biafra International broadcasts are always anchored on well-researched information and not based on personalities, frivolities, and foul languages. The main objective of Radio Biafra International is to empower Biafrans and give them knowledge through professionally delivered information, education, and enlightenment towards the ultimate goal of restoration of the nation of Biafra.
So don't forget, Radio Biafra into all one word.
And join us during our podcasts, and you'll be glad you did.
Master 2020. I think champion of Bakola when on all of them before you became with you. Because when I stay safe, we must have coronavirus money from one. tie ba na le da o waka ti je je won nya mo no before you be we di me
Radio Biafra International, empowering the people.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you all, wherever you are across the globe. This is Radio Biafra International, brought to you by Biafra Restoration Movement. Today is the 11th of August 2020, and it is a Tuesday. Welcome you to today's broadcast as we inform, as we educate, and as we persuade our people and listeners on what is very critical and very important in our lives as a people. You can get us through different platforms such as internet, Facebook, YouTube, RBI app, TuneIn app, and satellite. So you can just Google Radio Biafra International, and that link will lead you to the rest of the information that you need, including listening through your phones. So today we will bring you another broadcast with a group of panelists. Some of our guests may have to join us later. Some are here now. But before we start, I would like us to observe our tradition of prayer. Let us pray. Our Father and our God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, we acknowledge you. We reverence your name. We venerate your name. We worship you. For you are the only God, the one true God that created heaven and earth. There is none other than you. The God of Israel. The God that is called the God of Israel because Israel accepted the God, sought him like Abraham did, and he found him. Father, we praise and exalt your name. We commit our lives and our people into your hands, O Lord. Our hearts, our deeds, our actions, that you guide us by your Spirit, that you lead us on a path of righteousness, that you order our footsteps as a people, that we may survive and exalt your name. May our concern, may our desire always be to exalt your name, O Lord. Not ourselves, but you. For that is your desire, and that is the perfect will. Thy will be done. Deliver us from the hands of our enemy. Deliver us from exploitation, from oppression, from genocide, the shedding of blood, unnecessary. May your name be exalted. Praise be to the Lord, the God of Israel, because he has come and has redeemed his people. He has raised up a horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David. As he said through his holy prophets of long ago, salvation from our enemies and from the hand of all who hate us, to show mercy to our fathers, and to remember his holy covenant, the oath he swore to our father Abraham, to rescue us from the hand of our enemies and to enable us to serve him without fear, in holiness and righteousness, before him all our days. In the name of Yeshua, amen. Today, it is a delight always to broadcast and to serve our people by sharing very critical information, because, like I always say, we have myriad sources of information, and everybody cannot be listening to every source at the same time. It's not possible. People have things they are doing. They are busy with so many things. But when they come across information sources as we have today, they can be able to acquire that knowledge by simply listening to it, because we ourselves are doing the same. We even listen to ourselves. And it is very critical that as we listen to these issues, we are able to analyze them. We're able to sift them and know what to take that is of utmost importance to us. An uninformed people will have a problem knowing what to do, because we act based on information. That is why we talk about education. Human beings get educated. Even if you don't go to school, you're educated. You're educated by your experience. And you notice that because you are educated in that experience, you know better than those who are not, who don't have that kind of experience. So not until you share with them will they be informed about it, or you learn, or somebody learns about that. It will be very difficult for him or her to know. So that is why we broadcast. We broadcast because we are Biafrans, and our hope and our objective is that by the power of the right hand of our God Almighty, we will restore Biafra as a place where we can live in peace and live as a civilized people. As we can see, Africa after slavery, which, in terms of African slavery, would go back as far as the 7th century AD, because the Arabs were the first people to actually take Africans out of the continent. And they did that for 700 years. From about the 600s AD to 1400. That was the Arab trans-Saharan slavery, the period which it took over. Can you imagine that humongous, more than 600 years, almost 700 years of taking the people from their homelands and enslaving them across Africa? And after that, by 1441, the Europeans began to take Africans across the Atlantic, up to Europe, to North America, to South America. By 1441, the first slaves had left from West Africa. And then it began to grow. And these are people who were normally trading with the indigent. They would trade on, food stuff, articles of all stuff, and so on. Then, before you know it, they began to kidnap human beings, because that's what it is: kidnap human beings. They call it trade, but it's not trade. The trade is amidst white folks, the Europeans. They are the ones that traded amidst themselves, because oftentimes we hear people ask us and say, "Oh, why is it that Africans sold Africans?" But the question, one other question to ask is, and then that is sensible and reasonable, even according to European accounts, between 12 to 14 million. So I'll keep it at 14 million. For African scholars, they say it's more. It should be about 24 million people. Not to talk about those who died in the process of taking them in very cruel and gruesome way of forcefully taking our people from the continent, taking Africans from the continent. So they placed the number at 12 to 14 million. And the reasonable question to ask is this: how could Africans have sold 12 million people with nothing to show for it? No wealth in Africa to show that 12 million people were sold. But you can see the wealth in the West, can't you? You can see the wealth in those places that were taken. Because if you're selling somebody, then you have to get something for it. What did Africans get for selling 12 million people? Nothing. That is why that label trade, it needs redefinition. I mean, within scholars as well who write books and so on, because you need to change this. The idea of calling it trade is to simply say it is the fault of Africans selling Africans. They say, well, it's Africans. They say, yeah, there was war and there were prisoners of war. The war that you incited. You deliberately incited that war. Within a space of 450 years, you had flooded Africa with more than 20 million rifles, guns to fight wars. And when you side a group, of course, when the others are captured, they become prisoners of war. And Africans, and this is why we need our minds to evolve. They will take, because of this ethnic hatred that you see, like you see in Nigeria going on. If it was slavery, can you understand what the others would do to the others when they will sell all of them out to slavery. Because of unjustified hatred. And those wars, when they sold them prisoners of war, we still ask, that does not give you the right to take human beings, because those people did not sell themselves. They did not, out of their own will, get into those ships and were shipped across the Atlantic Ocean to work in plantations and slave fields and manufacture wealth for Western Europe. For the West. No, they didn't do that themselves. You don't have the right to do that. Just as we say imperialism is wrong. Imperialism is wrong. You don't have the right to leave your land, go to someone's land, capture it, impose your will upon that land. It's still a violation of those people. There's nothing that will change that. There is no way you can legitimize evil as good. It doesn't work. So imperialism is evil. That is why the world is unsettled. That is why we don't have peace on this earth. So if we look at how the Europeans came to Africa, even after slavery, the Europeans took Africans in transatlantic enslavement for 450 years, after the Arabs had done so for more than 600 years. So you see why Africa is such a raped place, such a distraught space. And after that slavery, you think, oh, they should have stopped. What you think is normal human beings says, oh, we did something terrible. This should end. In fact, we should apologize and then pay reparations to these people. We should do everything we need to do to help them, to show that we are sorry for what we did. The Europeans have not done that today. And I mean Western Europeans, because Eastern Europeans are also victims of the West, have been in the past, even victims of Arabs. The word slavery comes from the word Slav. Slavs are some ethnic groups within Bulgaria. You know, they are Russians, basically. Bulgaria and Russia, Georgia, all those places, that is where you have the Slav ethnic groups. They were taken in their numbers as slaves even by the Arabs themselves during the Ottoman Empire. So it's from that word Slavs that the word slavery came from. Slavery had been an ancient practice, but it had been a practice that also has been conducted in different ways. They say, well, slavery was in Africa. Yes, slavery was in Africa. But was it the type of slavery you practiced against Africans? Far from it. This enslavement you had in Africa was one in which people were simply like in Europe, they had indentured servants, where people worked for a couple of years, either because of debt they are owing or for one reason or the other. But after that, they are free to live on their own. It never happened like that for centuries and centuries in Europe. And after all this oppression, you still have today all forms of racism, which is the legacy of that, structured, institutionalized racism, where public policy is skewed against the descendants of these Africans that were forcefully taken, wrenched out of the continent. And because the West dominates the world and controls the media, that affects so much a lot of people across the world, and that actually is the reason why the image and the dignity of the African suffers all across the world. The media of the West is a problem to that. The education of the West is a problem to that. They need to correct it. What we are telling the West is, this democracy and freedom that you have, why don't you extend it to other people? You have to extend it to other people. Otherwise, you would be insincere with what you are doing. America had its freedom in 1776, or the American Revolution. But in 1776, after America, they were talking about liberty and freedom. And they said, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. But they held slaves. But George Washington held slaves. Thomas Jefferson held slaves. John Quincy Adams held slaves. Amidst those slaves, also from Africa, were Igbo people. Amidst those slaves were Calabar people, people from Calabar, the Efik. Amidst those slaves were various people from the Bight of Biafra, or Biafra. We have it on account, reliable account and source, in the book written by Douglas Chambers, titled Igbo Africans in Virginia, that between 1700 and 1725, within a space of 25 years, 37,000 slaves were brought in to Virginia in the East Coast, northern East Coast of the United States, or probably South as they were classified. Within a space of 25 years, 1700 to 1725, 37,000 slaves were brought from the Bight of Biafra. At least 30,000 of them were Igbo. And today we have probably more than a quarter of African Americans are Igbo. Thank God for DNA. Because though they took their names and their culture away from them, they did not know that God was going to work out something. That there was something called DNA. Thomas Jefferson, of course, couldn't imagine it. Even us that were born, most people couldn't imagine until it showed up in our lifetime. And we're like, God is wonderful. That's why we worship God, because we know that He, at the end of the day, He will be victorious. He will change that oppression and grant the oppressed victory. He will punish the oppressor. It is Him that does it, not man. If He does, we can't do it. We don't have the power. We don't have, but He will do it. And today we are seeing Him, and they are doing their day, and they are returning. And we are encouraging all our brothers and sisters, including other Africans who have been, do your DNA, find out where you come from, so you can reunite and have that link with your people. Because those who brought your fathers, our own people, over here, they did not believe that they will eventually find their way home. That's why they changed their names and changed everything, so they can find the way home. Because with your name, you can relocate, you can at least know where you're coming from. But trust the Igbo, even at that, they resisted that slavery in so many ways. There was a point in 1 year alone, you would have more than 50,000 slaves who escaped to the north as soon as the north was free. That's it. From the south, there were escapees everywhere. And the Igbo, well, some of them. There were also revolts and rebellions against slavery. What do you expect when you oppress people? They will resist, because that is how human beings are. But most importantly, these oppressions and all these attitudes are going on because of lack of sometimes knowledge in particular. Because all human beings still come from one blood. The Bible wrote that 2,000 years ago. It's in Acts 17:26. From one blood he made all peoples of the earth. And the UN by 1950, the genome test that was conducted on all the ethnicities of the world proved that. So when you oppress other people, you are actually oppressing yourself. When you amass wealth from oppression, what it means is that you are a thief, you are a criminal. You are amassing wealth for yourself. You need to be ashamed of yourself. There is nothing good about evil. So the Europeans, after slavery ended around the 1800s. First early 1800s, particularly in the West, they stopped bringing them in. So by around 1850, it was over. In terms of the West, remember, slavery ended in America in 1861, after the Civil War, 1861 to 1865. But in 1863, Abraham Lincoln gave the Emancipation Proclamation for the emancipation of slaves, freedom of slaves. They got their freedom, but of course, opportunities they began to deny them opportunities to act freely and live freely and progress within the American society. They were not living up to those quote-unquote hallowed words about freedom and liberty that they professed. So we say that America needs to improve. And we believe it's improving. Now, it is worse when you are not changing, when you are just the way you are. You need to change. We need to change. I need to change. Everybody needs to keep changing for the better. Because what is the alternative? The alternative is to make it worse. That's all. And this world, when we make it, because if you're changing for the better, you make the world better. If you are not changing you're making the world worse. It gets worse for all of us. All the problems we are having today, it is what you are thinking inside yourself. Because that's the way you act outside. So after slavery, around the mid-1800s, Brazil was the last country to ban slavery. And that was as far back as 1890s or so. Almost 1900. That was when slavery actually ended. Around 1880s, 1890s. That's when 1888. Sorry, that's when Brazil stopped slavery. That's almost 1900. Almost like 100 or something years ago. People who had lived then, some of them probably would have died like within the past 40 years or so. You would have seen a lot of them. So what we are talking about is not like, oh, it's a long time ago. It has been a long, no. It's not. And around 1884, can you imagine? Slavery was still going on in Brazil. 1884, they had a conference in Berlin, the Europeans, who enslaved Africans. And then decided to divide Africa up, just carve the land up. Okay, you own this, you own that, the other person, you own this place. Can you imagine? From one evil to the next. And when they began to colonize the places, they took over the land. When they took over the land, they just they drew the boundaries themselves. A table, just do the boundaries themselves. Why are they doing this? Because they figure out they have the power over Africans. So we can abuse them. So we can treat them anyhow we want. Take their land, take their resources, take their people. Their most valued resources, their own people. So they took our people. Then they took our land. And then set up their government, set up their everything, their institutions, forced everybody to abide by it. They said, okay, we are the law of the land. People come and claim, they signed some treaties with the traditionalists. Look, you don't sign treaty with people you don't understand their language. You don't do that. It doesn't make sense. When you say that somebody who cannot understand your language, that you're signing treaty with him. So all that things some of us read in books is not true. Just because you deceived one or two traditional rulers, and then, in the name of so-called protectorate. What are you protecting? You're protecting your wealth. This is how Nigeria was carved out. That is where I'm going with this. Nigeria was carved out, and you see the different 370, according to Vanguard, 371 languages merged into one country. What do you expect is going to happen there? There will be trouble, definitely, because they have different cultures. Their cultures are as different as they are. 371 languages. And like I said, you have about 303 of them up north, where they classified as north. And you have, and out of that 303, there are three major ones: the Hausa, the Fulani, and the Kanuri. And then the rest 300, which are being suppressed by others, and it is suppressed by others by the three. Why? Because people like the Fulani who came to that land have imposed themselves. So the same thing the Europeans did. That's what the Fulani people are doing. And it was the British that worked with the Fulani to do that. The British encouraged them to do it. The reason why they create this instability is so that they can have easy access to resources. And my question I ask even the British is this: the British government, those of you, even you are working in MI6 and all these places you're working, and you are in the parliament, listen, why is it that the values you set, because you were the ones that brought us the Bible, why do you go below the values you claim to propagate? Why do you go below those values? How can't you? Why is it so difficult in trading with the people? And just trade with the people. The oil that we have, are we going to drink it? No. You trade with the people, take the oil. But why must you need to use someone else to impose on some other person so that that person can kill them, oppress them, do all kinds of things against them, and then you work with the person to access his resources and exploit him? What does that show of you? Or do you think that the future will not will not expose this thing? Where is the Anglican Church in Britain? Was it the value that same value that Martin Luther had used when he broke out? He protested against indulgences in the 1500s, and you adopted it. Why are you dropping the values you profess that you hold when it comes to other people? You use a different approach. This is why the world is. There is nothing you can't. You can still be wealthy when you trade. These people are not taking anything from you. Why are you doing so to them? And the British came and encouraged the Fulani in Nigeria to subdue the rest of the various ethnicities and create chaos in the land. For the sake of this, your foreign policy, because that is what is being couched in now, we have lost 3 million people. And Nigerians now are suffering so much. A lot of people have died out of suffering. Because of your foreign policy? Imagine, sometimes it's good, because what makes you a human being is to also put yourself in the position of others. Imagine if that was done to Britain. Imagine if somebody came to Britain and took your resources and got the Irish and got the other to just oppose and oppress you, and then we come there and we take your resources, British people, and we make you look like people who don't know what you're doing, and we put you up in the media as people who cannot arrange their society, who cannot keep order, who cannot progress in any way, shape, or form, who don't know their left to their right. Imagine that. What you will see. How would you view us as a people? That's all we're asking. We're just asking all of us to think. That's all. We're human beings. Why must people continue to? And this is what you see. The legacy of Nigeria now is simply unworkable governance, unworkable structure and system, political system, and economic system, and social system. It's rather always a decline, degenerative conditions that people live in. And I'm not just simply putting that only on the West. The Nigerians themselves, when you know that this is what is done to you, you ought to think better than you're doing. That is why we speak in Radio Biafra International and tell these people who allow themselves to be manipulated ethnically, like what the Fulani is doing. Just look at Fulani people. You ask yourself, do these people have shame at all? Are you human beings at all? How can you allow yourself, how can you move around? You're pastoring in people, and you are foreigners, even to Africa. You're Arabs. And then you came in the Sahel, you took the lands, you grazed your flock, you grew as a people in number. Did those people wipe you out? Did they go killing? If they were killing you, none of you will be alive today. Not one. But you decide to do that to them. And you are right to yourself. But when we look, we are looking at a human being. He's Fulani. You are looking at him. He's a human being. And then you wonder, if I'm looking at a human being, all right. Because when you hear what they're doing, you're kind of so shocked. And then you look, he's a human being. He's wearing some clothes. He's talking. He's a human. Okay, why would you support this type of thing? Why do you adopt this type of culture of oppressing people, stealing and killing from them? When you steal from people, what does it make you? A thief. That's all it makes you. These things are recorded. What do you want your younger generations to read about you? Because that's the thing. When you do something, you don't know that it will be on record. It will be on record. What will your younger generations, your grandchildren and great-grandchildren, they will read it in books. They will say, oh my goodness. Because if they are civilized by then, they will say our grandparents were animals. They were terrible. That is how you want them to see you. People don't always remain the same. The times change and there must be change in time. Nobody can control time. No matter how powerful you are, you cannot control time. Time changes. So we wonder. So because this is a form of dialogue too that we're having. Dialogue of the heart. Are you going to continue to kill people? Are you going to continue to exploit people? Why do you want to be known for that? We don't know you for being helpful, for being truthful, for being a people who are civilized. We don't know you as a people who help others, who have conscience, and who are humanitarian, who build. No, you are known as scavengers. You are known as people who go and kill. You hold a human being and you cut him open, a living human being. Don't you know that human being is connected to you? It's a human being. Do the DNA. I mean, some of you, those of you who are educated, the Fulani people who are educated, can you please, reason with me on this? That person is connected to you. Everybody on this earth is connected. Why are you killing? Why are you cutting him open? Because you were born from a different lineage. And all of a sudden, you carry a name and adopt all kinds of devilish religion and culture. How does that change the truth? And I'm not saying it's just Fulani. It also happens in other cultures, including Igbo. Yes, because our people don't want us to say, there are certain things, we adopted their Osu system, isn't it? You still have people who want to justify that nonsense. Classism, you always want somebody to be down so you can be up. What type of nonsense is this? And this is what we see at the drill societies. Why? That makes you better than him? No, just because you have put him down don't make you better. You are worse off. You and your wealth and your so-called prestige, they are rejected completely. How can you be treating a human being like an animal? Why? And say you class because you're fighting for image and classism, status. So if I'm up, I'm the person, and you have all your deceived sycophants around you, and then the other person is down there. He's, of course, he's this, he's that. You see people making all kinds of comments like that. Is it not the same thing that you see the Fulani doing? And some of us still want to hold this type of ideas as something that is somehow morally viable. There is nothing that can justify, nothing whatsoever. And it's in other societies. It's in Yoruba land, it's in all that's what you all are practicing. Who are you oppressing in that your family? Who are you oppressing in that your community? Who are you oppressing? And then when you go and cry about oppression in Nigeria, no, that's how it feels to be oppressed. That is how it feels to be oppressed. Somebody comes to your land, take it, kill your people, do everything. What is it not that same value system you're using to oppress the next person that you think you're better than? And the thing that hurts me is that when some of us, when they die, you see people coming there to pray, that he's gone to heaven. Which heaven are you going to? Stop! Don't joke. Don't deceive. You can. How can I put? You can amuse yourself. But that's a very dangerous amusement. That after oppressing people, you get a priest or a pastor or someone, he comes there and then says that you have gone to heaven. Which heaven? Go and do what the person who created heaven told you to do. That's how you get in there. If you don't do it, forget it. It's not possible. It is even written. You study that book and you see it. That's what you create. Societies of class is a big problem in society. That's why we want to adopt a different value system when we get into Biafra. All this, I'm that, and the president. Oh, yeah, you cannot criticize me and so on. No, then you'll be criticized. Hopefully, Biafra will make a law that whether the criticism is reasonable or unreasonable, nobody will touch anybody for criticizing a public official. So you cannot sue for libel, sedition, treason, all those type of things. We throw it out of the window. For public official, if it's private, you can talk about that. But probably, yeah. Because once we say that the person can be libeled or whatever, no. The person who is in charge, who is in power, or have political office, will define what libel is. They will define what reasonable and unreasonable. So whether it's reasonable or unreasonable, leave him. If the person criticizes you wrongly, that is his shame. Let it be his shame. Or you should answer back. Let's have people with conscience. We will use a different method to run our own society. Biafra will promote democracy better than what you have anywhere, by God's grace. Not a democracy that is led by plutocrats, where some few rich people come and then they send people to the lawmaking arm of government, to the parliament, or to the, like you have in Nigeria, NAS, or like you have in America, Congress, and so on and so forth. The people who have the parliament making the law. But they are financed, their campaigns are financed by very rich people. So they go there and do their bidding. Wonder who does the bidding for the people? But they claim they are representing the people. No, that democracy will have to be changed. You will make it a lot impossible for people to be able to simply use money and finance somebody to the parliament. No. If we are going to select them by random picking up with certain basic qualifications, we will do that. But we'll cut off money out of it. Because what it will mean is that you run a democracy that is bought. Plutocratic people own the system. They run the system and use it to serve themselves. And sometimes it's not that they're doing it out of hurt. It's because they're competing amongst themselves. So the media is owned by some very rich man somewhere else. The people who are in the government are just passing laws that favor their corporations and they favor their own interest. Of course, the interest of the people will go down. That is why we have the problem we have. But we have to think above that. And that is the message that Biafra brings to you. Now, before I go into other things, I would like to repeat shortly the broadcast that I did before, because it wasn't very clear in terms of there are certain parts I want a repetition of, and most importantly to me is the passing of one of the Biafran heroes we have, Ejike Obuneme Ahanya. Ejike Obuneme Ahanya. This man, we will honor our heroes. We honor because they stood for what is right. They decided to do what is right. They decided to put their lives on the line so that we can survive. How can we just forget them and move away? And that's why we urge our people, please stop doing this thing. Because when you do this type of thing, it is reflecting on you. And it's reflecting so badly on you as a person. Those things you're doing are affecting us spiritually and otherwise. How can somebody put his life? Jesus Christ said, no greater love has a man for his friend that he gave his life for. Those who died in that, they gave their lives for us. How can we just forget it? Because your enemy says forget your own. Of course, he perpetrated it. He doesn't want you to remember it now. What do you think? And then you agree? You agree, you acquiesce with it. You once want to sneak away, just gradually sneak away from it, and act like, oh, and then they ask you, why are you not remembering people? Oh, well, it's past. It is past. But you come to the countries and you have Memorial Day for their soldiers and you go there and celebrate. Nigeria has Memorial Day. I haven't seen any country that doesn't have Memorial Day. You stand there and celebrate their own. Eh? But your own, no. Your own is past. Their own is not past. So we have to reason differently. When we reason differently, it is better for us. Let's not be just selfish. Because it will not take any society anywhere where you promote selfishness within yourself and then promote it amongst other people. At the end of the day, all of us will suffer. Trust me when I tell you that. It is just the way this world is made. That is why every single law that the Bible has told you to keep, there is something that comes with it. If you don't keep it, there is also something that comes with spiritually. You can't escape it. You didn't create this world. I did not. But there are laws guiding it. Spiritual laws are more powerful than you and I. Did we decide to be born? No. We can't even think beyond, when we're 10 years to talk about in terms of, So I want to remember this great man, Ejike Obuneme Ahanya, who was born on the 27th of November, 1932 in Amobia, Anambra State. Ejike Obuneme Ahanya, our own brother, died in July the 3rd, 2020. He was age 87. God kept him alive. He survived that war. in Atlanta. He died in Atlanta in United States. And he was a military officer and electrical engineer who served in the Nigerian Army and the Biafran Armed Forces, retiring as a colonel. Accused of involvement in 1966 Nigerian coup d'etat, he was arrested and imprisoned without trial until the outbreak of the Nigerian Civil War, where he served on the side of Biafra, holding key positions in the Biafran Armed Forces. You all have known by now about that war, that all the accusations that it was an Igbo coup was completely wrong. Completely wrong. It was a pretext to attack Igbo people. And by the way, prior to 1966, they have already attacked Igbo people in Jos in 1945. And in 1953 in Kanu. Mass killing. This is the culture of the Fulani, what they want to be known for. And in Muslims. The northern Nigeria is always violence. It's Islamic people inciting riots here and there. You don't see that in the south where you have Christians. Why? These Muslims that seem to want to justify their beliefs. And I ask you why? Why does that make you any better human being? There's always violence. You're always looking for who to kill. Whatever tells you to do that, if it's a religion that tells me, I will drop that thing like a hot, and it's something hot. Drop it. Because it doesn't make sense. And you don't have the preserve of violence, right? And so Ezekiel Ahanya, not to digress, was one of the people accused. Oh, this is Igbo thing. Yeah, has to be an Igbo thing. And these people that made these accusations never saw the fact that all the comments that they were making and all the attacks against the Igbo, they don't mention it. In 1945 and 1953, nobody mentioned it. They go, oh yeah, he killed Tafawa Balewa. Why Tafawa Balewa rig election? Why should Sardauna rig election and massacre the thief people? Why? You didn't see that? You're blind to that? These are things that cause problems. You cause the problem, it starts, then people start pointing at those they want to point at. Because Ezekiel Ahanya was found innocent. I will continue. He says, he was the head of the Biafran Agency for Research and Production, which produced bombs, rockets, missiles, collectively were called Obuni, as well as ammunition, armored vehicles, telecommunication gadgets, and petroleum refineries, among others for the Biafran Armed Forces. Later, he was the chief of staff of the Biafran Organization of Freedom Fighters, BOF, which was the guerrilla warfare and special operations arm of the Biafran Armed Forces. He also served as a battalion commander, 44th Electrical and Mechanical Engineer Battalion, Biafran Army, and later brigade commander of the 58th Brigade of the 12th Infantry Division, Biafran Army, during the war. Ahanya received his primary education at St. Cyprian Primary School, Port Harcourt, after which he attended Okrika Grammar School, Okrika. Nigeria, Okrika in Nigeria. Okrika is in Rivers State. Graduated in 1953. His first degree was in electrical engineering from Yaba College of Technology in 1957. He went for postgraduate studies at the London Polytechnic, later transferring to the Southampton College of Technology, graduating in electrical and electronic engineering in 1960. He then joined the Nigerian Broadcasting Service, where he became the president of the Nigerian Broadcasting Service Staff Union. In 1962, Ahanya was seconded to the Nigerian Army. He received his basic infantry training in the Nigerian Military Training College, NMTC, Kaduna, and further attended officers course and special training at the School of Royal Electrical and Mechanical Engineers, REME, under Major General Dennis Redman at Aberfield Garrison, United Kingdom from 1962 to 1963. He was commissioned into the Nigerian Army on 2nd March 1963 with service number N349 and the rank of captain. He served as commanding officer, Nigerian Army Electrical and Mechanical Engineers, Kaduna from 1963 to 1964. In 1964, he was promoted to major and served as commanding officer, Nigerian Army Electrical and Mechanical Engineers, Army Headquarters, Lagos, becoming the first Nigerian to hold the command, taking over from the last British commanding officer, Major Wito. In the aftermath of the 1966 Nigerian coup d'etat, Ahanya was arrested on 18 January 1966, and together with Lieutenant Colonel Victor Banjo, accused of plotting to assassinate the military head of state, Major General Johnson Aguirre. Ahanya was detained without trial at the Kirikiri Maximum Security Prison with others purportedly involved in the coup d'etat. He was later transferred to Enugu and subsequently Abakaliki prisons. In retrospect, those actively involved in the planning and execution of the coup, such as Major Dewela Ademoyoga, have attested innocence of both Ahanya and Banjo in their memoirs. After the 1966 Nigerian counter coup, in which Aguirre was murdered, Ahanya was released from prison in March 1967 at the orders of the then governor of the Eastern Region, Colonel, later General Odumegwu Ojukwu, defying the orders of new head of state, Colonel, later Yakubu Gowon. Now, at the outbreak of hostilities in January 1967, that marks the beginning of the Nigerian Biafran War, Ahanya was commissioned into the Biafran Army with the rank of colonel and appointed commanding officer of the 44th Electrical and Mechanical Engineer Battalion Biafran Army by the then Chief of Staff Biafran Army, Brigadier Hilary Njoko. A few weeks into the conflict, he was further appointed as head of the Biafran Agency for Research and Production by General Ojukwu. In this position, Ahanya was in charge of coordinating Biafran scientists, engineers, and raw materials in a concerted effort at boosting the industrial production of war-relevant materials for the Biafran government. Under his leadership, various scientific work groups were created to achieve specific goals. Priorities were weapons, ammunition, and fuel. To this end, he set up and supervised, among others, the anti-aircraft rocket Piom Piom group headed by engineer Seth Wanago, the fuel or petroleum groups headed by Dr. Obwehi, engineer Onyenso, and engineer Iteke, Obunigwe groups headed by engineer Willie Achukwe, engineer Austin Odiwe, engineer Roy Meni, engineer E. Kaine, Dr. Felix Orago, biological groups headed by Professor Njoko Obi and Dr. Okafo, the armored vehicle groups headed by engineer Iwobi and engineer Dike, the anti-tank war head and rocket groups headed by Professor Ezilo, Professor Ezekwe, Dr. Felix Orago, engineer Kaine, Captain Ohanya, etc. The food preservation groups headed by Professor Njoko Obi, Dr. Enne, etc. The rocket fuel group headed by Dr. Akalono from America. The hand grenade group headed by Mr. B. Gwobo and engineer Okafor of Dockyard, Porakot. The salt groups headed by Professor Ago Ogan, Dr. Obasi, and Dr. Ikechukwu. Matches and candle groups headed by Dr. Osisiogo, Dr. Caleb Wakama. The vehicles repair, modification, and renovation group headed by engineer Roy Umenyi, engineer Onwubualili, engineer Captain Ohaya. The telecommunications equipment modification group was headed by Professor Chijioke. The battery reconditioning and reproduction group was headed by Dr. Mike Wachuku. The finance and general administration group was headed by Dr. B.C. Mosu, Ben C. Mosu. Under his command, RAP, the infamous Biafran Obunigwe weapon systems, which included command detonation mines, improvised explosive devices, and rocket-propelled missiles, were designed and mass-produced by the Republic of Biafra. According to Biafran government claims at the time, the RAP produced surface-to-air missile. Piom Piom was the first rocket to be wholly designed, developed, mass-produced, and launched in Africa. Ahanya was in charge of supervising the various scientific groups he set up, supply of raw materials needed for production, as well as distribution of finished products to the troops. He was also in charge of training the troops in the use of the various homemade weapons, bombs, grenades, and missiles. To this end, he created various Obunigwe squads, which were distributed in fire brigade style to the various war fronts as the need arose. Initially posted to Port Harcourt to help defend that town from the advance of Benjamin Adekunle's 3rd Marine Commando Division with his Biafra-made mines, shore batteries, and missiles. He was later deployed with his Obunigwe troops to Onisha by General Juku to defend that town against attacks from Murtala Mohammed's 2nd Division. Anya played a major role in the defense of Onisha. Anya and his Obunigwe troops also played major roles in defense of the towns of Aba, Ikotepene, and Owerri. The Biafran Organization of Freedom Fighters, BOF. After the fall of some major Biafran enclaves such as Enugu, Bakliki, Calabar, Ikotepene, and Port Harcourt, it became increasingly obvious that Biafra could not adequately defend herself using only conventional troops. Anya therefore approached General Juku and the new Biafran Army Chief of Staff, Major General Madiebo, with the proposal of setting up a guerrilla force in divisional strength, which was to operate behind enemy lines, especially in the areas of Biafra occupied by Nigerian troops. The force was to be made up of civilians, including women, who, after having been trained in sabotage and the use of RAP-made explosive gadgets, would infiltrate behind enemy lines. Ahanya was given the assignment of setting up, equipping, and training the guerrilla force, which was named Biafran Organization of Freedom Fighters. He got a team of South African instructors under Colonel Jan Breitenbach to train the BOFF troops in sabotage and counterinsurgency. Ahanya was made the commanding officer of this new branch of the armed forces with title of Chief of Staff. Members of his staff included Chinua Achebe, Dr. Oku Ayoku, and Dr. Konjo. The headquarters of BOF division was located at Umuahia. Regarding aims, objective, and modus operandi of BOF, Ezenwo Heito quotes Ahanya as follows, quote, "The Biafrans did not have the firepower that could match the firepower of the other side, so it became necessary for us to plan and formulate our battles in terms of defense warfare. All the people who were thinking alike wanted to form an organization that will achieve these aims. The primary aim was to drive the enemy out of the land of Biafra and not to capture strange lands. The organization was to involve fellow Biafrans in captured areas to help in driving the enemy out. Since the regular army was there was the need to demarcate areas of operation. The regular army operated in front, while the BOFF operated behind enemy lines. The aim was that as the regular army became weaker than then the freedom fighters would become stronger. BOF was the most important fighting force in Biafra aside from the regular army. In April 1968, they achieved a brief but spectacular feat by recapturing Asaba from the Nigerian and Army 2nd Division, blocking off direct supply across the Niger River. They also prevented the Nigerian Army 2nd Division from linking up with the 1st Division headquartered at Enugu by effectively blocking the Onisha-Enugu road until the end of the war. By September 1968, they were operating extensively behind enemy lines in the Midwestern region and other areas of occupied Biafra. The BOFF under Ahanya also played a major role in the recapture of Owerri in 1969. Ahanya was married to Miss Comfort Ifeoma Modebello on the 19th May 1962 in Birmingham, United Kingdom. He was a fellow and founding member of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, a member of the Council of Registered Engineers of Nigeria, and a member of the British Institution of Electronic and Radio Engineers. After the war, Ahanya established his private engineering company called Nikon Engineering Company and was the first to have indigenously designed, patented, and produced traffic lights in Nigeria. He was a member of the Igbo Traditional Chieftaincy Title Holders Association, and also holding the title Ochiagha Udo Now, Amobia, a founding member of Ohaneze Ndigbo and a founding member of the People's Democratic Party. So this is the greatness of this man, who was indeed a Biafran hero. And we have so many heroes. The last time we brought you the great deeds of another great Biafran hero, whose name is Clement Onyemelukwe, who supervised the building of 5 airports in Biafra, including the one at Uli. He hails from Nanka, and I think also in Anambra State. And he died recently too. He died in Westport. I think Westport is in either Rhode Island or something. You know, that's probably in the east coast of the United States, northern part of the east coast. And he was called the father of electricity in Nigeria because he headed the first electrical company of Nigeria. He was the first. And these are some of the great things that, contributions that Biafrans made to Nigeria as a country. And but after making that contribution and see it as a positive contribution, they began to attack them. They began to undermine them. They began to, and this thing I'm saying is still up to today. And how is Nigeria? Okay, since Igbo is your problem, how far have you gone in building a fantastic Nigeria for yourself? And that is why the Igbos left. They said, okay, we want Biafra, let's go. Then they came fighting them again to come back. And then you wonder, how do people reason? How do people reason? You know? And this is the problem of man. When you relate with people simply based on envy. And let me tell you, the person you're envying might be the person to save your life. That is what you don't know. Who are you envying in your family? Who are you envying amidst your friends? Who are you envying? Are you jealous of in your community? It will produce nothing but darkness, and it's because that thing inside you is evil. It is nothing good. It is nothing good. It's God has endowed everybody with something. Go and do that one that God has endowed you. It's a contribution. It doesn't mean the other person better than you. Yes, but it's how the society presents all these things that is just messing up our and it's a big problem. So we honor Ejike Obuneme Hanya and we honor Clement Onyemelukwe. Are wonderful Biafrans. Our children will read about them in books. We will honor them. We will have the Biafra Museum is set up. These are people that
don't worry about it. I think I want copy here.
And we will also honor our soldiers.
I'm looking for the number.
Just a second. Your voice behind is getting into the broadcast. Yes. Good morning. Yeah. So that's it. If we remember these people and honor them, we'll do better. Biafra is ours. Since we cannot live together, as you have seen, Nigeria is not a creation of Nigerians. Nigeria is a creation of foreigners, and is created to serve those foreigners, not Nigerians, and it is serving them. So those foreigners have not considered Nigerians. If they were considerate of Nigeria, Nigeria would not be. It's a big problem that we have. So I would like some contributions. Let's go, Mazi Jofo. So let's have one of the pillars of Biafran revolution movement.
Hello, sir.
Mazi Chinawata, are you there?
Yeah, he's calling me, Mazi.
Okay, he seems to be engaged.
Yeah, I'm here, my brother. Hello.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much, my brother. Emma, that ndị be anyị kwuru okwu say that now when a child is crying and pointing his fingers in one direction, if the father is not there, the mother is there. You know, I like the fact that you are able to trace our problems as far back as Arab enslavement of African people. You see, Arab did what they did to Africans, and Africans cried, ran to Europe for help. Europe came and saw what the Arabs saw, and Europe wanted Africa for themselves. So they did what they have done to Africa, and then Africa was left with serious confusion on what to do. They resorted to self-help and started agitating for independence of their people. Finally, African moral stand was able to win the hearts and mind of some understanding Europeans who felt that, you know, Africans, you are right, we should not be there. And Africa gained the so-called independence of politics, but then again entrapped in the enslavement of the mind and resource control. Where Africans thought they have actually escaped from Arabs and Europeans, Fulani was lying in wait. And when Africa was about to breathe a little sigh of relief from all these travesties, here comes Fulanis, who are now determined to make sure that the entire West Africa belongs to them. Don't get it wrong. When we are shouting and maybe making a pronouncement of what is going on in Nigeria, Nigeria is not isolated. This problem is a problem that has come over the entire West African region. And we sat one time and we say, okay, we don't believe in killing people. We try to shy away from blood. So what do? Maybe what Nigeria, Niger, Chad, Mali, and all these other African, even Burkina Faso, maybe what they should do is come together as one and maybe carve out a little portion of land and say, Fulani, here is your homeland. Go of Africans alone. Now, it is possible that that might even assuage these people. If they are normal, reasonable human beings that can think rationally. But Fulani has no rational thinking. Fulani cannot think better. They cannot think of anything. Fulani cannot create anything. What Fulani know how to do is to kill you when you are sleeping. They cannot fight. Don't get it wrong. Fulani cannot fight. Fulani can only fight you when you are sleeping, when you are weak. That is why they crawl like snake, because we have spoken so many times. These people are of reptoid ancestry that cannot be trusted. So even if you give them a piece of land, maybe in the northwestern part of Nigeria, with their border with Niger Republic and Mali and Chad, maybe going towards Borno State, if you can carve out a place and say, Fulani, here is your homeland, get out of Burkina Faso, get out of Mauritania, get out of Senegal, go home from Ghana, leave the southern part of Nigeria alone, let Cameroon be free and let Guinea be free. If you do that, will Fulani acquire sense? Central African Republic is having problem with Fulani. Congo, of all places, is having problem with Fulani. Kenya is having problem with Fulanese. Fulanis have decided that Africa is their lot and Africa must belong to them, and they must actually own and control Africa, whether Africans like it or not. And the question is, haven't Black Africa had enough? Haven't Black Africa had enough? Now, what is the answer to this thing? The answer to it is, you have to respond in kind to Fulanese, that you just don't, what Europeans didn't do. When Europeans came to Africa, they never said, Africa, you know, we own not just you, but we own your land. They never did that. Arab people did not come and tell Africa, we own your land. They never did that. Fulanis came. Not only that they want your women, they want your land. And whether you like it or not, that is what they must have. This is their claim. That they are talking about even setting up security, so-called security agencies or vigilante across Nigeria. What does that tell you? And the government of the day is in conveyance with these people, and Nigerians have heard Radio Biafra International, Radio Biafra London, Biafran messengers crying in the wilderness, telling people what is coming. The Yoruba media will not acquire sense or maybe agree to that. Middle Belt is beginning to wake up to that now, because the Southern Kaduna has become the latest killing field. So my brother, this has no remedy. It has no remedy, because Africans cannot think out their problem. They have actually always yielded their problem to be solved by foreigners. They expect Europeans or maybe even Arab to come. And Arabs will come with a demand, convert or die. That is what Arab will bring to the table. Europeans will say, well, give us all your resources and die in squalor and poverty if you want us to help you. Now, Africa is going to be left alone now to fight again. Maybe, you know, to do things themselves instead of waiting on either Europeans or Arab for safety. It is time for Africa to wake up. It is not just Nigeria this time around. It is for the Black world, for Black Africans to realize that this war again is not just for Biafrans, but it is for the entire African race. Thank you again, my brother, for having me. I am still standing by. Thank you so much.
Thank you, our own wonderful Ejiofor Chinawata, for that contribution. Before I go to our hero and veteran Ahmed Flukando, I would like to put out something regarding the timeline of Fulani history here, so that people can be able to understand better what to expect from these people. Hopefully it will drive down the message. Nobody will say, well, I haven't heard. I didn't know. You know, those excuses, no. This will be very clearer to us. And when we have knowledge of something, we know better how to handle it. We should do that. Yes. For example, timeline for Fulani history. In the 4th century, the Ghana Empire emerges in modern-day southeastern Mauritania and western Mali as the first large-scale Sudano-Sahelian empire. The Fulani was not there then. The Ghana Empire becomes the most important power in West Africa in the 5th century. Then in that 5th century, the Fulbe migrate southwards and eastwards from present-day Morocco into Mauritania. You see, now they begin to move down from Morocco. Remember about the Almoravid Empire, which took that Morocco place, and then including in the northwestern part of Africa, Morocco, and then also southern Spain. That's where they control. From whom, when they intermixed and they married with Africans, they produced the Fulani, the Arabs. So then the 9th in the 11th century, the kingdoms of the Kro and Gao Empire flourished in West Africa due to gold trade. And by 1042, as in the 11th century, Almoravids, Berber Muslims from southern Morocco and Mauritania attacked Takro after defeating the Sanhanya in 1039. So Almoravids, the Berber Muslims, they attack Mauritania. You see where those people are coming from? Yeah, that's from that north they start moving down. They're moving down up till today, and they are saying the whole of Africa, we must take it. And he says by 1050s, Islam gains a strong foothold in West Africa. Islam didn't used to be there; it just gained a strong foothold by the 11th century. Like I said, 1050s, it gains a strong foothold in West Africa. By 1146 AD, Almoravids take over Morocco, Algeria, and part of Andalus, Al-Andalus. They invade Ghana in 1076 and establish power there. So you see that Ghana, which is not theirs, they invade it and then destroy it. It's all about conquest. By 1062, Almoravids founded the capital at Marrakesh. That's what I told you. That Marrakesh was known historically. If you go about, it has a notoriety, an infamy, historical infamy and notoriety as a slave market where Africans were sold. Marrakesh in Morocco, today's Morocco. It says by 1062, Almoravids founded the capital at Marrakesh. That was the capital of the Almoravids Empire. And from there, they were funneling slaves into Arabia, black African slaves. If you go to Saudi Arabia today, you see blacks. You only see them when they're playing soccer, and then they bring them out. But you don't see them in power. They are not in power. They don't have economic or political power. So they are marginalizing them, despite these claims they have. They bring to you that Islam is propagates equality, fairness, and equity. Don't believe that. You look at them. What are you doing? It's just like in Christianity, they tell you that the gospel is your life. It's not talking. You just keep talk. No, yeah, they are looking at you. Then are you doing what you're saying? If you're not doing it, then there's no point, because that person is not going to be convinced based on what you're saying. He thinks you are simply a manipulator, that you're a liar, you're a cheat. So you have ulterior motives. So by 1100, the Empire of Ghana starts to decline in influence and importance. By 1147, the Almohad Caliphate, ruled by Berber Muslims opposed to the Almoravids, seize Marrakesh and go on to conquer Almoravid Spain, Algeria, and Tripoli. By 1150, an unprecedented resurgence of Ghana Empire sees it reach its height, controlling vast areas of Western Africa as well as Saharan trade routes in gold and salt. Yeah. In 1200, Empire and themselves set out on a road of conquest. They take its capital, Kumbi Saleh, in 1203. The conquest is still going on, Great warriors later, Sundiata Keita of Mandinka people, found the Mali Empire in present-day Mali, West Africa. It expands under his rule. Yeah, these are the Mandinkas in 1235. Then Mali absorbs Ghana, Tekro, and Songhai by 1250 AD. And by 1324, 10th Emperor of Mali, Musa I of Mali, goes on his famous pilgrimage to Mecca, Saudi Arabia. His procession reported to include 60,000 men, 12,000 slaves, See that? Slavery going on. Who each carried 4 pounds, 1.8 kilograms gold bars, heralds dressed in silks, who bore gold staffs, organized horses, and handled bags. Musa provided all necessities for procession, feeding the entire company of men and animals. Also in the train were 80 camels, which varied, um, which varying reports claim carried between 50 to 300 pounds. That is 23 to 136 kilograms of gold dust each. So we remember about Mansa Musa. You read it in your history books, isn't it? Yeah. Well, Mansa Musa and gold. Gold was very much extracted, in Mali in those days so much. They are still there in West Africa today. So, and that's why sometimes you have all these wars and so on. Some people fighting for proxy for those who want gold or diamonds, particularly from the West. Western powers are still controlling Africa, and that is why you have this poverty and so on, because if they can let Africa be, then Africans can withdraw their borders themselves and associate with people they want and relate with people on a fair way and be able to negotiate their own sovereignty relationships. This is very, very important for peace and progress of Africa. Then we should understand that that is for our own good, not for their own. For those of you who are always, we must stay together. We must be one. We are one Nigeria. We are this and that. Oh, don't leave me. My brother, your brother that you're always planning to kill and undermine and exploit, and murder in darkness, your brother. So you are not one. Simple. The culture cannot. The cultures are completely different. The perspective of life is completely different. The understanding of the cosmology, every other, completely different. So why do you want to force people who sees it, like Fulani sees exploitation, oppression, and as, culture. It's their way of life. So then you want to stay with them in the same place? That's a very, very difficult thing to do. So how do you then have peace? That's the question we are bringing to you. How do you have peace with such a divergent, such an opposing values? You want to join them together, instead of putting a cat and a mouse together in a cage. When you put them in a cage, and of course, what will be happening. One is trying to kill the other. They cannot stay there peacefully. And you are complaining, why are they not peaceful? Why can't they live in peace? That's how some of your questions, when you say certain things, some of Nigerians, when they make certain statements, what does it look? Why is the cat fighting the mouse? Why is the mouse running the hell? Because there is not in their nature to do. Their DNA is not that. That is the point. So in 1352, Ibn Battuta, Berber scholar, travels across Africa, writes an account of all he sees. The Berbers are not Fulanis; they are indigenous Africans. 1462, Sani Ali becomes ruler of the Songhai Empire peoples and goes on to build the Songhai Empire. 1490, the Mali Empire is overshadowed by the Songhai Empire. And it keeps going. By 1590, Songhai Empire is defeated by invading Moroccans from further north. You see that? Yeah. Islamic conquest. 1650, another wave of Fulbe migration sees them penetrate even further in the southern Senegal and Fouta Djallon, highlands of Middle Guinea. You see where they say they come from. They just when we were there in 1650, and they say, where they come from, Fouta Djallon. No, these are Arabs. They come from Arabia, and in 1670, Fulani people gain control of Bundu in Senegal with Malik Sy and Siseb here. You see, they gain control wherever they are always trying to gain control, to take over and control the place. 1673, first unsuccessful Fulani jihad in Fouta Toro. It's always jihad. So what do you expect? What do you expect from them? Peace? No. It's always jihad. Futatoro in 1673. By 1808, Fulani, Boronu successfully repelled Fulani forces. They even want to conquer the El Kademi and his group. The Kanuri people. You see that? Now, 1893, the French conquer Futatoro. So the French then fought with the French and defeated them. Futatoro, I think, is in Senegal. Yes. And there's a famous river there that's actually named after that and the people. Then it says, in 1903, the British conquered Sokoto Caliphate. British came in and conquered Sokoto Caliphate, conquered the Fulani. Remember, 1903 was like 100 years after Usman Danfodio had already came. I think Usman came in 1804. So by 1903, just about 99 years after, 100 years approximately, the British conquered them in Sokoto. And that's how they created. And that was when they actually stopped their movement further down south. They conquered a couple of places in Yoruba land, the Muslims, and from Kwara all the way down to Bomosho and so on. Even they were touching Lagos. That's what they're talking about, that the conquest has reached the west. They've reached Lagos. That remains the east. So, and then they want to come from the middle belt and others and then that's why you have these killings going on. So it is obvious that they are not there for peace. Now, there is the current information that I want to read before I invite Mazi Chuks Ikedigwe to, and then I hope that by this time we're expecting Mazi Ahame Kando, our own veteran, to be ready to make a very an important contribution to this. The news we have today is the news, the breaking news, where the Sultan Kaduna crisis. Fulani herdsmen want to start a civil war in Nigeria. Former Deputy Governor of Central Bank of Nigeria said so. And he says the former Deputy Governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, Obadiah Mailafia, has stated that the government is unable and as well not interested in protecting the lives of its citizens as Fulani herders plan starting a civil war in the country. According to him, there is every reason to say that the Nigerian government are part and have a hand in the killing spree of bandits and terrorists alike. I'll read that again for those who haven't heard me clearly. He says, according to him, there is every reason to say that the Nigerian government are part and have a hand in the killing spree of bandits and terrorists alike. Obadiah, who spoke during a radio interview, says that he has a body of intelligence that have met with some of these bandits and can categorically tell their intentions for carrying out these killings. He stated that evidences can be drawn from their replies when they said the killings in southern part of Kaduna are for revenge purposes and nothing more. The body language of this administration and that of the government proves further that they are aware and have huge role played in the killings of Nigerians, he said. He stressed that the deceased General Abacha doesn't get enough credit as he would not have tolerated or welcomed the killing during his administration. He said also that during this COVID-19 lockdown, as directed by the government, Boko Haram and bandits plane were moving around, transporting weapons, logistics, and distributing funds to different parts of the country. The former deputy governor stressed also that they are already present in rainforests of the southern part of the country. Continuing, he said that they have met with some of the bandits' commanders and had numerous meetings with them. During the meeting, they told us that one of the northern governors in the country is in charge and command of Boko Haram's activities, adding that Boko Haram and the bandits are same and boosts of well-grounded and sophisticated network. They said also that when they are done with the rural killings, that they are going to proceed with the phase 2, which will see them make route to urban cities and from houses to house to kill prominent personalities. The Fulani herders are planning to start a civil war in the country by 2020, he added. This is Obadiah my Lafia. He's from Southern Kaduna as a Christian, and he went to Oxford University. Was former deputy governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. So you're housing somebody who was a very highly placed public official in Nigeria. Is somebody who has a reputation to defend, by the way. So now he's telling you that they are able to infiltrate these people, and those of them that, and they've told them they've gotten the real information. It's not like as if people don't know, really, but there are some who don't. That is the point. There's quite some huge chunk of people who don't know. So they want to kill, first of all, the important people, because you see, what they do is they want to just cut off the head. Then they can control the rest of everybody else, which is what they did to the Hausas, and we have been able to say it here. So I would like to bring in some of Amefulu Kando. Our brother Amefulu Kando is back, our veteran, to give us his views on this, like the statements that Obadiah made. The plan on moving down south. That is the purpose probably of their, heading every agency, military and security agencies. They are in charge of it. Where is that type of thing done? It's crazy. Simply unbelievable. And Nigerians are looking. They are looking. Some of them are busy waiting for Igbo man that they will challenge. I mean, Nigerians should be ashamed of themselves. Igbo man, this, Igbo man. Even while these people have been doing this in Nigeria since 1804, none of them complain. You are complaining about someone who's done nothing for you, nothing against you, rather has done for you. But the person who's doing something against you, you don't have any complaints about. What type of people are this? Domaze Amefulu Kando. If I can connect with you, Obadiah my last year has let us know.
I'm okay right now. I had my phone. Yeah. I ran out of charge. That's what happened. Sorry about that.
No problems. Yes. Good to hear from you.
Yes, my brother. Oh my God, your presentation, the initial speech you delivered this morning before our brother Ochiramata came. My God, it's like you said it all. Oh my God, I missed part of it, but we'll be in touch, and so that I'll get some of when we have the repeat broadcast, I will catch. It was so informative, so much of information. And you know what? From all the information I'm getting from different areas, even the Yorubas now have come to understand what Biafra stands for. That's why we have to be very, very articulate. We have to be very careful in presenting whatever in Radio Biafra International. All mistakes that have been made in the past, believe you me, the answers is in Radio Biafra International. So kudos to you, my brother. We thank God for you. So now coming down to the real thing about all these, whatever we are seeing today, all right? I how do I say now? I pull it down by saying it is Islamization agenda in operation. Everything that you are seeing today, that we are seeing in Southern Kaduna, we are seeing in northeast of Nigeria, everything that we are seeing that is unbelievable, things that nobody will believe could happen on this airplane, they are happening. These are all contained in the Islamization agenda. And who even made it clearer is, I think, Emmanuel Bosun. Go and listen to the broadcast of Emmanuel Bosun, who is a RCCG pastor, whereby that is the Abuja Declaration of 1989. Please, I wish that every Christian, every pastor should listen to it from the beginning till the end. As a matter of fact, a year ago or so, I wanted to make it so that I will let some churches to listen to it. I got in fact, I got a pastor who agreed that it is worth listening and it is worth presenting to the people. Believe me, when you listen to Abuja Declaration of 1989, which I will ask everybody, go and Google it. At a stage, they wanted to remove it because it explained everything. All the things we are seeing today about the Muslims win in Nigeria today are things they had planned years ago. They are just executing them now. When we come to understand this, there should not be any reason whatsoever for the South and Middle Belt not to work together. I'm forgetting about the whole past of mistakes. And these mistakes were all hinged on the fact that the Fulanis are manipulators. From the time they came to Nigeria the first time in 1804 till the time they took over the whole of northern Nigeria in 1808, they constantly manipulated. They have a system. They first come and beg you, oh, please, can you give me an arable land so that my cattle will feed and so on? And you said yes. That is the biggest mistake. Once you do that, the next thing they will start doing is to now start preaching the Muslim religion, how good they are and everything. They confuse you. And most of the time, the people will buy into it. And before you know it now, they start telling you, they start getting into your politics by telling you how corrupt your leaders are. You see, now they're getting you totally under control. That's what they used in northern Nigeria. And that has been their style. The moment now they get you to believe that your leaders are bad, now they indoctrinate you now to fight. They raise the army that we are going to use in taking over from your people. Go and check the pattern. This is the pattern of the Fulanis. The much I have known about them, that's why I have forgiven everybody in Nigeria the mistakes that were made, because we were really, really naive. Even from the time for centuries ago, our people were naive. They will come as though they are so nice in a very stilted manner. Oh, nice people. That's why you hear some of our leaders today saying how nice Islam is. Oh my God. So this is the key thing. What is happening in Southern Kaduna? There is nothing. There is nothing the Fulanis will do today as they are doing in Nigeria that is new to us. We know this. And that's why we said the major area of contribution for the extrication of our people from the Fulanis and the British is to make sure we understand them. That's where Radio Biafra International comes to play. Our project is to really, really let the people know the truth, which has not been known. So thank you all for all the contributions. Always find out that whatever is happening, go back and read the Abuja Declaration of 1989, and how Pastor Emmanuel Bosun presented it. It is important. And now with the way things are now, there is better understanding. I will advise pastors or members of churches, make sure you listen to them and ask your pastor to make sure if it is going to be the sermon once in a month for people to listen to it, just play it, put it on and let people listen to it. I am telling you, our freedom and our liberation will just be around the corner. There will be no question of saying, oh, Biafra. No. We are talking about the Christendom. That is one of the things that is going to bring us together. And I want to use this opportunity also to say, because now that Trump is in office, he is one American president, has even said something about the violence in Nigeria against Christianity. Let us see how we can work so hard right now that he is not doing very well. Let us see how we can use this opportunity to strike a deal with him that something has to happen even before he gets into office. Something has to happen. So we have to think about it, how we are going to do it, so that there will be an action in Nigeria as quickly as possible, even before the November American election. That's the suggestion I am going to put forward. Let us see how we are going to do it. So thank you all very much. There's nothing that is happening in Nigeria that is a surprise to me, not at all. because everything is contained in the Islamization agenda, then the Abuja Declaration and everything. And luckily, I grew up with them. I understand them very well. I fought them during the war, so I understand them. Nothing is new to me as far as they are concerned. My business is to make sure that the youths know what is going on. That's the job I have taken upon myself. And thank God we have Radio Biafra International, from where we can now propagate the message to our youths. I am telling you guys, the other day I was just reading how the Yorubas and the Igbos now are gradually trying to, calm down about the misunderstandings that had existed a long time. And this misunderstanding had been planted by the Fulanis. So Southern solidarity and Middle Belt solidarity, that's what we're aiming at right now. So let us check. Whatever we're saying has to add to the solidarity movement. Thank you very much, Mazi Mogalo, and all members, Mazi Ochinawata, and every one of you, Mazi Anemena, members of the panel. I love you all so dearly. Let us continue what we are doing. And in due time, our liberation and our freedom will be given to us by Chukwu Okike Abiyama. Thank you, Mazi. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Mazi Okando, for that contribution. Mazi Kedigwe, I will come to you after this news. I hope your connection is working.
Yeah,
there is an important news I want to read. It says, okay, just hold on for a few minutes, please. Uzodimma petitions NJF AGF over Supreme Court Governor tag by PDP. Imo State Governor Hope Uzodimma has petitioned the National Judicial Council and Abubakar Malami, Attorney General of the Federation, over the tag of Supreme Court Governor used to describe him by the People's Democratic Party. In January, Emeki Hedioha was sacked as Imo State Governor following the Apex Court ruling that Uzodimma was the duly elected governor of the state on the grounds that results from 388 polling units were excluded when the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, announced the final tally in March 2019. In the petition also addressed to the leadership of the National Assembly, Bartosz Chikezie, special advisor to Uzodimma on political matters, asked that Ogubundu Nwa Dike, the publicity secretary for PDP in the state, and other loyalists be stopped from using the Supreme Court Governor tag as it is derogatory. You see, this is why I say in Biafra, people will be criticized, whether reasonable or unreasonable, and the law will cover it. Because you need to, if somebody, the reason why these things keep happening is that public officers can walk around with their head high after they have stolen and done all kinds of nonsense. But if you have a law that somebody criticizes you as long as you're a public officer, no libel, he will not be charged for libel or sedition or treason, that he's free, whether it is reasonable or reasonable, the criticism. I'm telling you, nobody will stand being criticized for evil when he does in public office. I'm telling you, before you come out for public office, you either decide whether they want to come out or not. Like I said, if the accusation is unreasonable, let it be the shame of the person who is accusing you. But the freedom of speech will have to move up than what you have now. Look at him complaining. He says, Supreme Court Governor tag as it is derogatory. Why wouldn't it be derogatory? Are you not Supreme Court governor? He said, Chikezie said, since the Supreme Court's decision on January 14, 2020, Wadike continued to refer to Uzodimma as the Supreme Court Governor and Chief Emeka Ihedioha as the elected governor of the state in the print, electronic, and social media. He described the tag as wicked propaganda and blackmail, characteristically designed to incite and delude the people of the state, thereby misdirecting them to disregard the judiciary. He also asked that the NJC, through the registrar of the Supreme Court, ensure that Nwadike is made to stand trial. Can you imagine? For criticism, he wants him to go and stand trial for persistently making a mockery of the decision and proceedings of the Supreme Court on the Imo State gubernatorial election, thereby making them look compromised and biased in the eyes of the public, which is a dent on their integrity and pedigree. You need to see the power of calling somebody out I want Biafrans to know that. Call them out. All these governors, politicians, they are criminals. That's what they are. And they should stop respecting them. They don't deserve any respect, you know? Because once you keep respecting all these evil people, they'll come up and be doing more. More will come out. They'll come out tomorrow and bring you a bag of rice, give you this and that. You see people out there actually. Well, who are you going to salute? It is time to raise the way we think. And I'm talking about Biafrans in particular. Because others, I don't know when their culture will get to that level. But we have to move on. You know, stop respecting political leaders simply because you don't respect a man simply because he has money, he has position or title. Respect him for being a righteous man. Respect him for uprightness. Respect him for forthrightness. If he doesn't have that, forget him. Him and his money and his position. Because it's your value system that is determining the type of people who are in political positions. And who are whether in your family or in your society or your community. That's why you can go to the council and then you see people, the truth, they can't speak the truth. You have a council in the village, all the elders, they're all playing politics. You cannot say the truth and you expect a fantastic society the next day. No, when you don't say the truth, you already started an evil that will eventually grow to overtake you yourself. All the problems they are having today in our society, it comes from all those meetings where you didn't speak the truth. It comes from that interaction or dialogue you had with somebody, you didn't speak the truth. It comes from you allowing evil or you doing it to being partaking to it. That is how it grew in society, and now everybody complains. That is how it happens, not no other way. Mazi Chuks Ikedibe, please, if you can speak to that. Those are them is claiming that we should stop addressing him as Supreme Court governor.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Let me start by greeting Biafrans and all our listeners. Thank you for joining us today. Today is Tuesday. Yeah, this is another wonderful day in our usual broadcast. Okay, let me start with the Uzodinma issue. One thing is sure, criticism is allowed everywhere in the world, especially in Nigeria. Criticism is allowed. But Uzodinma is making a great mistake by even asking for the trial of those who are criticizing him. There's no law against criticism in Nigeria. You can only have law against libel and scandal. Okay, but what is happening here is not scandal. Is not written down, so it can only be scandal. When you go to court because of scandal, you're just making mockery of yourself. He has actually made himself a laughing stock now by showing the people that is angry at being called Supreme Court governor. In other words, he recognizes the fact that he never won that election. And for him to even be angry about it actually confirms, which most of us know, except somebody that wants to be politically correct, is the only person who does not know that there was mago in that judgment. It has never happened before that somebody from the fourth position out of a sudden came over to pass the person that took third and person that became second, and even dethrone the person that came out first to become the governor. It has never happened. And if you check the election results, you will discover that nobody from APC was even elected as a member of the House of the State House of Assembly. So if you discover the elections that took place, you discover that it was practically impossible for him to have emerged as a governor from that election. So everything tells you that there was mago in that election. I mean, coming to cry more than the brief now, coming to make the judiciary, make the Supreme Court look as if we are the one being insulted, is stupid of him. He actually exposes the fact that everybody knows that this man is crying because he knows that people have seen through the judgment that everything was biased, everything was there was panking that whole judgment. So I really pity him. Because I don't see him coming out from this crying. I don't see him coming out from his petitioning. I wonder what he wants to achieve with it. If there's anything else he wants to achieve with it, he's just making mockery on himself and making the people know that he's angry at being called the name. And what we're told as kids is that if I call you a name and you react, well, you've given me a license to call you that name because I know you will get too angry. He has actually exposed that fact that it makes him angry. And because it makes him angry, if I'm in the show of the PDP spokesman, I will make sure that I focus more on that thing that makes him angry. I'll focus on hitting him on that. Listen, if actually had people that advises him, one of the things they must have told him is not to make noise about. Let them just pretend that he was not hearing what they were saying, what the PDP spokesperson was saying. But for him making it a case, I'm sure he has fallen into the trap that's set for him, and he's going to pay dearly for it, because I see them making more mockery about him. The Supreme Court cannot stop people from calling him names. Okay, Supreme Court cannot make that, and the Supreme Court also knows that the judgment they actually passed had a leg on it. And I wish Nigeria is just that kind of a society where we can investigate the judgment. In America, they do once in a while, they investigate the judgment, just like judge the judgment. They do it there. Just that Nigeria is not yet a sane society where something can happen, and that judgment is to be a burden on all the seven judges that initially participated in it. And worse will be on the 6 judges actually confirmed. We shouldn't forget that one, the new person, the only new entrant to that judgment actually disagree with them. So it will actually be a burden on them. They can't explain what happened that day. So that has to go with the judgment. So what would have happened was, if a new set of judges were allowed to hear the appeal on that judgment, okay, I'm sure that they would have gone with the new entrant, the only one entrant that disagree with that judgment. But Nigeria being what it is, they make sure that everybody that participated in the first election, the first judgment actually participated. And what do you expect? You expect them to just recommend, to just see what the evil that they've done before. This is what we must not allow to happen. And I thank the PDP spokesperson for bringing it to fore, because the more we discuss about it, the more talks about it is able to expose what really happened. Thank you. That's for the Uzodimma issue and Imo State Supreme Court governor issue. Talking about the killings in Southern Kaduna, okay, the Southern Kaduna issue has been a lingering issue. And every time it happens, just like you read that, the government will tell us, the Nigerian government will tell us it's a revenge killing. What is revenge killing? Revenge killing is that somebody comes to kill you and kill again and again and again and again and again. And each time you make them tell you it's a revenge. What are they revenging? What are those who are killing revenging? Nobody's telling us.
And it's not their land, by the way. Yeah.
Exactly. It's not their land. What are they revenging? Who killed them before that they revenge you? You never hear about these other people killing. If we know how revenge is happening, revenge killings are not one-sided. What we are seeing is one-sided killing every other time. One-sided killing every other time, and you call it revenge. Who is revenging what? And we mustn't forget something. I keep reminding us that thing. Of that tweet by El-Rufai. El-Rufai tweeted it. He sent it there. He said, according to his tweet, let me paraphrase it. He said, I put it in the public for everybody to know. Let it be there for the whole world to see that anybody that accuse a Fulani takes a loan, that no matter how long it lasts, they must surely pay for it. So by the time you are telling me a revenge killing, everything about El-Rufai said actually confirms it, that these killings are premeditated. As far as El-Rufai is concerned, what they are killing is, they are revenging maybe something that must have happened millions of years ago. Because he said it, that anybody that kills a Fulani takes a loan that must be paid. In other words, this is the loan that they are paying. This is the loan that are assumably being paid. And then the government keeps quiet about all they tell you is a revenge killing, it's a revenge killing, it's a revenge, and they do absolutely nothing. Just like the deputy governor that you were reading what he said, he confirms it exactly. And I'm sure anybody that doesn't know that these northern governors are involved in this Boko Haram and banditry, it's just trying to be politically correct, because all their governors there are meeting with them. They're having meeting with them. El-Rufai himself personally told you that he paid them to stop killing. I don't know how you can pay somebody to stop killing. You pay me to stop killing, you are giving me money to buy more arms to continue the killing. That is what he means, okay? And then there's something very important that just happened this week. There was a Malian intelligence officer. He came out recently and was telling us that MORIC stands for Muslim Rights Concern, MORIC, that they are being funded by ISIS. that's ISIS West Africa, ISWAP, that they are being funded, that they've received over $250,000. They are getting funded by this, and it's a Muslim country. If you check the leader of that, the director of it, Ishaq, he keeps saying rubbish. Anytime Christians, he will talk about it. There's nothing Buhari and this government that has done that he has never supported, and there's nothing Christians do or the Easterners do that he will never condemn. No matter how lovely, no matter how laudable that project, he must come to condemn it. And I was always wondering, what script is this man playing? And when this result came out that his body is actually receiving funding from ISIS, it was just a confirmation of what I already knew, that this man was playing a script. We must always keep notice of this thing, that these people are being massively funded by terrorist organizations. They may come out tomorrow to deny it, but everything, like this person saying is in Nigeria. If he's in Nigeria, I can say, okay, maybe politics has come in. No, he's a Malian intelligence chief, and I'm sure he knows exactly what he was saying. Before he can come out and say that Morik was being funded by ISIS, he knows exactly what he's saying. So I want our people to keep an eye on that developing story. And Buhari being who he is, because Morik and the leader of Morik has been supporting, he's not going to do anything. But we must make sure that we investigate this allegation, trace the movement of funds. Thank God that you can trace funds now. Trace the movement and funds. I need to really open that these guys are being funded. And if at the end of this confirm really that is truly being funded by a terrorist organization, what do you think will happen? They'll play panky, pay the Southwest media houses, and they will drop the allegation. They will never make noise about it. But we must keep an eye to know exactly where that case is headed, to make sure that they do not play any panky on that case. It's a trace. It's an information that everybody must follow, because we must expose. Because since this Boko Haram issue has started, no founder, no financier of ISIS has been brought, or Boko Haram has been brought to book. All you see is just the sharks. They keep leaving the sharks and the whale and just be following the small fishes, the crayfishes. But this is exactly what we've been waiting for, and thank God it's coming from people who should know, somebody in the intelligence, and it's not a Nigerian who would not have been motivated by anything. So we must all follow this. We must all follow that news. We must focus on it, follow it to the latter, make sure we confirm what exactly is happening. Because you can't tag IPOB a terrorist organization, and then we have people who has not done anything. And then you have people in your country who have been funded, receiving money from terrorist organizations. And when that thing happens, you keep quiet. These are some of the things that we must that information that we must gather. Here Mazi Ahamefula saying we must talk to the president of US. These are the information we need to gather, table them, package them, and send them across. This is how to win cases. If we are able to do this, package these cases, send it out to the people, and they see exactly what will happen, what we are saying, that we're not just crying wolf. We are actually saying exactly what is happening. Believe you me, they will come to our rescue. When they come to our listen, there's a great reason for we to make our case known to the whole world, because we can't be living with people who support terrorists in the night, and in the morning they come to cry and tell us it's a revenge killing. So we must not. And this is why we actually be supporting that. ISIS have been killing Christians all over, shooting aid workers all over. Why are they supporting these people? So our brothers and sisters, we must focus on this thing. Go there and read the news. My contact is telling me that in a few minutes now they will be denying the news. Okay, that's what the journalist I was talking to now was telling me, that he has gotten information that they want to deny the news. But the truth is that I'm very interested in that case. We're almost interested in that case. Whether they deny it or not, we must follow the trace of that money, and it's going to confirm. Thank you very much. Thank you all, Biafrans. I stay back now.
Thank you so much, Chukwueze Kediwe, for that analysis. It is good that we have voices as important as yours to continue to stress this to our people to understand. It's amazing how what's his name? Hope Uzodinma. He's saying that addressing him as Supreme Court governor is derogatory. I mean, you can see, how, which one is more now? You being rigged in or actually calling you Supreme Court governor? Is it that you don't know that people that you were put in by, everybody knows you are put in by Supreme Court, by the Supreme Court, but you are a Fulani representative. That's why they put you there. You don't. That's why these people don't have shame. So until it called on your face, you don't know that. They act like you wonder where is their intelligence. Of course, you are a Supreme Court. You are worse than that. You are a Fulani sent governor in Imo State. That's what you are. And you are there to do their bidding. That's why you are installing emirs and things. You expect us to keep quiet. And I don't know, but it is the right of people to fight for what is right. Period. This idea of, you shouldn't fight for what is right. Don't be quiet when you see things that are right. Look, fight however you have to. From talking to even involves violence, and because if somebody attacks you, what do you do? What are you supposed to do? Stand there? It is the right of defense. Is a right that is known. Everybody has a right to defend his life. These people that are attacking people and doing all kinds of impressing with the excuses, just like you mentioned the Fulani, Murik, you see them, Muslim rights, whatever, committee or whatever the answer. They use that to keep attacking society. All these places that the Fulani are claiming, it's reprisal attack. Is it your land? What are you doing there, Fulani? You are over the place they are not your land. You're taking them. And you're claiming that the people are attacking. Is it your land? Go back to where you come from. It is not your land. Your land grabbers, your killers, your murderers. That's what these people are. Despicable. Very despicable. Disgusting sort of culture and behavior. And you expect people to respect. The point is that they do this thing and come out and expect people to respect them. People can be devilish, honestly. Respect you for killing people, for stealing, killing, destroying. That's what the devil does. These people are demonized. And they should be resisted. They should be resisted. And I remind my people of this. You must understand that you have a right to defend yourself. Do not succumb to, don't mind them, don't do this, all manner of excuses not to do, all manner of excuses. That's the devil again, coming from a different angle. Yeah, the devil can be more religious than you. I'm telling you. The devil can be far more religious than you. You don't know religion, I'm telling you, compared to the devil knows religion far more than you do. And that is why simply evil is evil. And don't just stand and tolerate it in the name of I want to look good. No, you are looking bad because you are tolerating evil. That's what is happening. You are tolerating evil because that evil is being promoted because you're not doing anything about it. That's why it's being promoted everywhere. What stops the evil if it's not good people that stand up and fight it one way or the other? Some of you are in places where you are enjoying freedom and so on and so forth. You didn't know somebody fought for the freedom there? Please investigate. Because I'm telling you, if somebody didn't fight for freedom there, you wouldn't be able to stay there. Somebody will be oppressing you there where you are. That's how life is. Anywhere you are, check if you are free. Check if somebody fought for that freedom. So you're enjoying the freedom that somebody else fought for, isn't it? You're enjoying the freedom that somebody else fought for, but you don't want to fight for another person's freedom. You don't even want to fight for your own freedom. Like, what type of selfishness is that? God will judge you based on that. I'm telling you. Being selfish and using religious cloak to cover it is not going to work. Because you know that you are supposed to voice out at least against it, but you are not doing so. So what are you doing? You're giving excuses why this should not happen, why you shouldn't use that way. People are being killed every day in that country, massacred by the Fulani and Islamic jihadists. And you keep quiet because you have not, it's not you, it's not your mother, it's not your father, it's not your brother, it's not your sister, it's not you, but these are human beings being killed. And then you keep quiet. You just keep quiet. Next, you come out as somebody who has, is moral. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This is self-deception. I'll read you this. It says, all people who dare not defend themselves when they know they are in the right, who submit to punishment not because of what they have done, but because of who they are already dead by their own decision. This is a Jewish writer, Bruno Bettelheim. He lived between 1903 and 1990, condemning millions of Jews who never resisted but went quietly to their deaths in Hitler's death camps during the Nazi Holocaust. Because you want to be good, because you are not raised to be this and that. That's how you walk. You went and you were obeying evil people. It's better fighting them and dying fighting them, I'm telling you, than just simply to stand there and die on the hand. My own assessment. Because, when you start doing something, I call it the act of faith. When you begin to fight the evil person, the Bible says, resist the devil and he will flee from you. And I asked them, why is evil? Why do Christians sometimes only classify evil as somebody lying, somebody stealing, somebody killing someone? They are all evil. But do you know that governments commit the worst evils on this earth? When people who are in government, because if you take all that cheating and lying and all this and put it in government, you see what some people in government do. And they should be held responsible for that. Definitely. They should be held responsible for that. Because they are the ones, they promote these things. They promote it. They promote evil, cheating, exploitation, this, that, that. Some of them that do that. They should call them out. That's why you have, in a democracy, you have people, all that group who are calling them out. And because they're calling them out too, in a democratic society, that is why the government is able to be upright and do certain things right. That's why you have law. But look about Nigeria, there's no law because the constitution itself is a forgery, forged by Fulani, to impose themselves and their will on the people. And that's why you should just resist it. Resist it. Don't acquiesce to it. And when Christians reason, I tell them, read Psalm 82, verse 3 to 4. I'll read it to you. It says, defend the cause of the weak and fatherless. Defend the cause of the weak and fatherless. If you stand and then you're not defending the cause of the weak and fatherless, you are not reading the scriptures. You are not obeying the word of God. He said, defend the cause of the weak and the fatherless. Maintain the rights of the poor and the oppressed. Rescue the weak and needy. Deliver them from the hand of the wicked. Psalm 82, 3 to 4. How do you do that if you do not walk against or even confront the wicked? Those who are oppressing them. God asks you to rescue the weak and needy because he knows you can and should do so in his name. Psalm 104:3 said, blessed are they who maintain justice, who constantly do what is right. Psalm 106 verse 3. Blessed are they who maintain justice, who constantly do what is right. You're blessed because you're doing that. Proverbs 31, 8 to 9 said, speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves. For the rights of all who are destitute. Speak up and judge fairly. Defend the rights of the poor and needy. Proverbs 31, 8 and 9. Write those things down and check them out. Isaiah 10, 1 to 2 says, woe to those who make unjust laws, to those who issue oppressive decrees, to deprive the poor of their rights and withhold justice from the oppressed of my people. Woe to them. That is what God is saying. Woe to all these politicians in Nigeria who do all these things, make oppressive decrees. Woe to them. On any part of the world they do this, you make unjust laws. Time is going to come in where you pay. God says you pay. Woe, if he says woe, woe is on you, except if you're not making unjust laws. Because this is a law, this is a spiritual law. For it not to happen will mean the Bible is lying, and you know what's going to happen now. Woe to those who make unjust laws. This woe can only come to those who make unjust laws. Are they making unjust laws in Nigeria? Your answer is as good as mine. To those who issue oppressive decrees, do they issue oppressive decrees in Nigeria? Who deprive the poor of their rights? Do they deprive the poor of their rights in Nigeria? Who withhold justice from the oppressed of my people? Do they withhold justice from the oppressed? That's it. So you can know who the woe belongs to. This is what the Lord says in Jeremiah 22:3. This is what the Lord says, is do what is just and right. Rescue from the hand of his oppressors the one who has been robbed. Do no wrong or violence to the alien, the fatherless, or the widow, and do not shed innocent blood in this place. It talks about the disadvantaged in the society. Do no wrong to them. The Bible orders that you help them, right? In particular, that you help them. That is why Biafra will not tolerate this type of marginalization. This person is that, the other person is this. He's Osu, or he's this, lower status. What status? This is what God doesn't stand for. I'm telling you, my fellow Biafrans. We will plunge ourselves into terrible problems in Biafra if we don't listen to God. And that's why I'm calling my people Biafra. The rest, other people can do so for themselves. And I'm also telling them to turn and face God. It is to your benefit. This idea of pretenses, it shouldn't just continue, pretending like you don't hear it. That word is final, I'm telling you. The Bible is the word of God. It's the most sold book on earth, the most powerful. This word is simply superlative. Superlative. If it wasn't important, why are they buying it? Why do you think 5 billion copies of it have been sold? Why? Because it's not important? Maybe you need to try it yourself so you can see what is there. So we shouldn't forsake the covenant of the Lord, my fellow Biafrans. When we do that, we will plunge our society into chaos. We will plunge our society into chaos. We will regret it because it is not, those things have what it produces. And as I said before, Biafra would be different. We will organize a society where you will see democracy that is righteous democracy, because it was created, born out from the Spirit of God. Not, democracy where you want to cheat the other person. Oh, this law is there for him, but not for you. You are above that law. You're creating a law. No, you create it by putting yourself under it. That's it. If it's good for you, then if you think it's good, then it's good for everybody else. Not one law for the other person, the other one for you. No. You create an unjust society. And when you create an unjust society, the problem starts. And I want to address my fellow Biafrans regarding the source of our problems, because God will deliver us out of this. If we continue to call on him, he will. He has promised he will. I'm telling you, he will deliver us. But when we deliver us, please don't go back to this, because Nigeria also corrupted our people so much. Corrupted our people. Their value system and culture was not, it had problems, but not this type, as we see today. It's just completely unbelievable. You mix up with people where one person is the king, he does everything he says is correct, and no, it's not our own system. Remember, we run a system, a council system, council leadership. We have the council of elders, as the supreme authority in our villages, in our towns, council of elders. So why not adopt that in Biafra? It's not one man. Somebody is there. President, everybody's attacking the president left and right and say, oh, president did this, president did that. No. The government of the people, isn't it? Democracy is government of the people, by the people, and for, okay, make it of the people truly. Make it by the people truly. That means the people take decisions. When you bring up public policy on issues, you spread it out for people to discuss. When they discuss, they vote for it. When they vote for it, they will now collate it so that you know where the majority is lying. The council, represented council of elders, and they will say, okay, this is what we need to do. You might have a representative council of elders as who is representing the country or the state or whatever. And, once it's time, he will leave. That's it. But don't make it one man show. One man has to do. What told you? We don't do that. And you know why we don't do that? Because kingship is a problem. And I'll tell you, it's biblical. From our very culture, it's written in the Bible. And I'll prove it to you that it's biblical. Monarchical leadership, first of all, is fraught with problems that emanate from the very position of the monarch. Absolute power, pride, grandeur, pomp and pageantry, authoritarianism, limited awareness, ignorance, deception, favoritism, and nepotism, intimidation, manipulation, debauchery, hedonism, licentiousness. The king will favor his family members, clan, village, friends, and town with resources contributed to his position, even above from resources contributed by others. Sorry, he will by his subjects, actually, because the other ones become subjects. And in democracy today, we still have subjects. Because they say, oh, it's governor. You ask them, when they said the governor said this, the governor said, even where he doesn't have the right to do so, he's doing everything. He's appointing traditional rulers. Can you imagine in Igbo land, the governor is appointing traditional rulers? First of all, we didn't have those traditional rulers in Igbo land before. Why? I remember Chinua Achebe said, Eze Builo, meaning the king is an enemy. And you see why the Igbo did that, why the Igbo said the king is an enemy. All these so-called chiefs you have, and Eze of this and that, it was installed by the British warrant chiefs. They come there and introduce warrant chiefs. And we adopted it. Why don't we drop it? Or do we just want to serve somebody's ego? And they transfer that type of thing to you. So you have to support it. No. Because what is it? Ego tripping. I'm this, I'm that. Empty. Completely empty. That is the problem. There are ways of solving problem in our society without having somebody there. Eze in our language doesn't mean king. Eze means a spiritual leader. Eze actually means priest, a helper, a leader. Eze is even biblical. Eze. Yes. Type EZER in your Google it, and then you find the meaning in Israel. It's a helper. Eze. Yes. So why are we adopting this process? Why are we adopting this structure and system and political ideology that is very destructive? The governor, if he appoints the traditional rulers, then they do his bidding for him, because he will be the one to deceive you to vote the governor in. We claim there's democracy, but when the governor already appoints who is going to take over from him before so it's not the people doing it, but you say it's democracy. If it's democracy, it should be the people now, isn't it? That means we don't know who's going to be the governor. How come they know before the person becomes the governor? How come they know before? In fact, the person who was there as governor that will tell you who will be the next. He's the one that appoints him. It's not the people. They know then how to deceive the rest using those traditional rulers and so on and so forth. We need to create a society that is clean. This is why you have all these problems that we're having. Because we are cheating, we are undermining the truth, but it's not possible, because the truth eventually, you will suffer, you pay for it, which is what we are paying for in our societies, because we haven't stood up for the truth. That's why money is important, but the love of it is the root of all evil. But we just uphold money. In 1 Timothy 6:10, it says, for the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Some people eager for money said have wandered from the faith. So, love of money will destroy our souls and cause us to be selfish, wicked, vainglorious, liars, cheaters, and murderers. Love of money will make us treacherous, unfaithful to man and God. Those that live by these vices bring shame to themselves. Community within Igbo and Biafran nation. Their egregious sins bring bad name to the collective Igbo nation. This type of reprehensible characteristics are evident within our politicians who squander public funds with family and friends through contracts, allowances, and sheer purloin of the public till. They abdicate their responsibilities and mount a massive publicity cover-up campaign for their ineptitude. Our traditional rulers, these were positions installed by the British as warrant chiefs, and the elders have become corrupt. They are now appointed by politicians, mainly governors, who seem to carry the legacy of the colonists as they offer their certificates. They offer them certificates of office. Mainly occupied with vainglorious celebrations and ceremonies, they collaborate with politicians in doing their political bidding. They deceive the people regarding shortcomings in governance and cannot hold their governing political overlords accountable. Yeah, they will tell you, on our role, he's doing something. He's doing all you was saying on our role. No, in fact, that's why he was paid to say those things. And you all believe the Igwe or whatever, and then that's it. He confuses all of you. You know, they dish out titles to criminals and men of disrepute, corrupting the young and old who see these degeneracy, indecency, and depravity as new values to be upheld. The young who steal through swindling are hailed as smart as they celebrate with lavish parties while throwing money on people's faces in a most despicable fashion. This is what our people are doing now. They throw money on people's faces. And I keep condemning that. That thing is despicable. It is disreputable. It is repugnant. Yeah, it is nauseating. It is detestable. Leave that nonsense. Stop behaving like people who are hedonists. There are people who are worshiping money. Put that money in an envelope and keep it down there on the table for them. Whether they are dancing or whether they put it on the table for them. Yes. Be decent. Who taught you those behavior? I'm asking my fellow Biafrans. Very despicable act. We make poverty a sin and we mock the poor rather than help them. In Igbo land, a man is now respected for his wealth and titles, not righteousness. Our churches are made up of money-craving preachers, less concerned about the salvation of the human soul. Sermons are fashioned to emotionally manipulate members as simply wealth multipliers of the church. Our society had spiritually and morally decayed as a result. Remember, Jesus said to them, I'll quote from the scriptures. He says, take care and be on your guard against all covetousness. For one's life does not consist in the abundance of his possessions. This is Luke 12:15. One's life does not consist in the abundance of his possessions. If you think your life consists in the abundance of possessions, also know that you will leave those possessions. Well, where will be that your life? Since you will leave those possessions. Let us begin to think. I'm old enough now and I've seen people who have gone. When we were young, we didn't know people die because we haven't buried anybody. But when you get older and you buried one or two, your eyes will clear. You begin to think differently because your thought will now, okay, what am I doing here? What is this all about? Yes. Generations come and generations go. What do you spend your time to do? I'll quote again. This is from Chinua Achebe. He says this, quote, the enterprising spirit of Ndibo has led to great success in merchant professions and the acquisition of wealth, often very great riches among a certain segment of our people. However, there is an ugly underbelly of this great success. An academic obsession for materialistic accumulation has taken a hold of Igbo land and has the dire possibility of eroding permanently the moral and intellectual capability of an entire society. Civilizations that have been obsessed with money and materialistic accumulation alone have all failed. We need to emphasize the importance of ideas and education, not simply for job attainment, but for the overall improvement and advancement of our civilization. This is Chinua Achebe, Africa's greatest writer, at the first World Conference on Igbo Civilization, where in January 19th to 23rd, 2009. And this was published in Guardian newspapers of January the 27th, 2009. And Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu said, quote, a man's soul is not a matter of properties and investment, but a matter of right and wrong, good and bad, just and unjust. Ndibo must not lose their collective soul as a people. Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu, in a keynote address at the meeting of the Southeast Elders and Leaders held in Owerri, March the 5th, 2010. This was reported in Daily Independent newspapers. And he also told them there, I would like this quote again to add this one. He says, I will never be tired of reminding you, my beloved brothers and sisters, that we in Igbo are a great race, richly endowed by the Almighty God, the creator and giver of all gifts. So how do we honor that creation? So kingship is not, we see where eldership and these leadership things, and this is why we have problems amongst ourselves. You have one a king, everybody else is contesting. Some are trying to kill him, some are trying to dethrone him, some, trouble everywhere. So I would like to invite another guest who is on board, Ifeoma Nwadike, to give us her own contributions on the topics so far discussed. You're welcome, Ifeoma Nwadike.
Ndị be anyị ndewo nụ, ekelena m onye ọbụla ndị niile nọ na line, nwanne m nwoke. Anọ m na-anụ ihe niile ikwuge. Ama m otu a ga-esi were kwuo ya ka ndị be anyị wee ghọta ihe dị at stake. Nna nna anyị ha agaghị school. Ha na-eji aka agụ ihe. Nwee nke ha enweghị ha kọmputa na ndị otu ya, all these gadgets anyị nwee now. Akwụkwọ ha agaghị, mana ofu ihe ha ji wee ịhụnanya. Ịhụnanya wee ihe ha ji. Mmadụ ahụ ibe ya n'anya. My dad gwara m mgbe ha dị ntakịrị. Nwoke, onweghị, they didn't aspire so much. Nwoke ruo ịlụ nwaanyị, ụmụnna abịa zọọ aja. Atụọrọ ya akịrịka. Ụmụ nwaanyị apụta ga weta ji na ede na ụmụ ruru ihe. Chịkọtara ha ya na nwunye ya ga-eji ebido ọrụ ugbo. Ebiwe na ha ụlọ. A family has been instituted. So, but ugbu a gịnị ka anyị na-ahụ? Onye kwụrụ ọtọ enutuomie, some eze ga-akwụ ọtọ. That's the same thing nwanne anyị nwoke na-ekwu. Some eze ga-akwụ ọtọ. That's not the way of our forefathers. Ihe ndị nna nna anyị ha hiwere anyị wu eze wu n'obi. Eze gị wu na your own domain. And that's the way they instilled in us the spirit of competition. Achọrọ m ka obi m maa mma so that onye soro nwoke ụlọ ya mara ebe o si pụta. Ya eme ụmụ Igbo na-agba mbọ na-achọ ihe ha ji enyere ndụ ha aka. Ile anya eze wu n'obi ndị nna nna anyị ha hiwere anyị gbepere ugobere. That is that spirit ha tinyere nwa afọ Igbo ọbụla n'ime. Nwa afọ Igbo amụrụ taa enweene that spirit of competition, that spirit of hard work eze wu n'obi, because your own kingship is in your domain. You want people to come there and see you, and you want your domain to be beautiful and presentable. That has been the spirit of the Igbo man. Ayana true. But one thing ndị nna nna anyị hiwere anyị hapụgoro Honorable Nwanne Agba n'Ọsọ. Honorable Nwanne Agba n'Ọsọ, that's the only thing we have to go back to. Onye n'obe nwanne ya agba n'ọsọ. Omenọkọrịrị nwanne ya started that betrayal. Honorable Nwanne Agba n'Ọsọ, but o rere nwanne ya ka o wee rijuo afọ. Onye rere nwanne ya ka o wee rijuo afọ, afọ agaghị eju gị n'ụwa, ọ gakwa na-eju gị n'ụwa ọzọ na-abịa. Because ihe ndị nna nna anyị hiwere anyị wee gbebere ugobere nke si ibe ya ebere nkụ ga-akwa ya. Ha sịrị anyị Honorable Nwanne Agba n'Ọsọ. Ọwụ onye jide ya echete nye nwanne ya. Ọ bụrụzie nwanne gị ka ị ga-echewe, ị ga-emefu maọbụ ị ga-eji wee rigoro. Iwuruzie agwọ n'elu ibe ya. Agwọ ọbụla lụrụ ibe ya mana ọdụ ya ga-anọ ya n'ụlọ. So ihe m na-ekwu ha ahụ ndị be anyị echefuo onye Honorable Nwanne Agba n'Ọsọ. Imibewe anya ebewe, ejula gawa o buru nkụkọrọ ya. Ụmụ Igbo ndị ọnụ ruru n'okwu na Nigerian politics, ele ụmụnne unu, ebee ka unu hapụrụ ha? ọkwa ndị nna nna anyị hasịrị ọnụrụbe nwanne agba n'ọsọ onye gawa ya dọkpụrụ nwanne ya. That was that spirit of our forefathers. We don't have it anymore, especially in this Nahawo politicians. Onye ọbụla na-achụ ego, 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 ego. Ebe ka ị ga-ebu ya aga ibu onye ara n'ụwa ka o biri. Mbọsị ụkwụ kpọ gị, ị gakwa ama ebe ego ndị ahụ nọ. Ndị ga-eri ya ewere emere ihe masịrị ha. Ahụ ahụ ị na-enye ji na ede, enye akwa na nke mmanya, the highest type of drink. Ụmụ ahụhụ nọ n'ala ka ị na-azụrụ ahụ ahụ. Mgbe o so ruo ha mere kpiriji bịa rụọ ọrụ dịrị ha. Takasịa the thing. Okpokoro isi atọgbọrọ. And that will be it. You will only be in the memory, just like our forefathers are. Mụnwa ama m nna mụrụ nna m na onye mụrụ ya n'obi. But they existed. Sometime we all will be in the memory. So ị na-abụkọsị na-eme ihe onye ndị ọcha ji emelecha ha na-achị anyị ọchị si ndị ọmụkwa ihe ha na ụwa alawa aghara ebe ka ị ga-ebu ya aga Omenoko rere nwanne ya ọ ka na-eri ego ahụ ruo taa. But look at the memory of Omenoko. We read it na novel. Omenoko rere. We remember that name. Evil name wherever it is called. It spells evil, betrayal, you know, blood. So, enwere ndị Omenoko nọ na-ere ụmụnne ha. Know that that history will follow you even after you go into your grave. Oga hapụ. You are building a history. You are writing your name on the sound of time. Make sure you are writing a good name because it will remain even when you are gone. It will hurt even your family when you are gone. Ego ndị anyị na-akpa ị ga-akwa ama ebe ọ dị. Ka ị wee rijuo afọ ire nwanne gị afọ a ga-eju gị n'ụwa oge ga-eju gị n'ụwa ọzọ. You will know that evil stinks. There is no peace for the wicked. Ndị a na-aga na ndị ugwu na-aga anara ha appointment, anara ha elu n'ala, anara ha nke a na nwanne ka ha were bụrụ na ha riri nri nye ezinụlọ ha. Ị na-eri ọbara ụmụnne gị. Ị na-eri ọbara ma ndị mbụ na ndị egede ndị nwụrụ n'agha ma ụmụaka ndị ahụ agụụ ọgụgburu. You are partaking in the blood. Those blood akwafuru. Chete na ị na-erikwa ọbara ahụ ruo taa. Ma ị wụrụ Omenoko na-aga anara ndị ugwu na-ere ụmụnne gị. You will see in that cause the million years. Those cause the how many years ago. You are a partaker in those bloods. Because all ndị anyị na-aga ekwe n'aka gị na-echi echichi onwe ndị ga-ahụ ha yiri efe ha wụrụzie malam overnight ka ha were gara champion n'aka ndị na-egbu ndị ụmụnna anyị. Kama ha ga-aga nyụkọ mmamịrị ọnụ ọgba ọfụfụ ha natara anyị oke ruru anyị welatara anyị a na-ekele ha. N'oge mbụ nwa Igbo ma akwụkwọ ndị ụmụnna agbakọta aka zụọ ya leta bịa ha echere nwa ha ọlọta ka ọ gụọrọ anyị leta anyị ama na-agụ. Nwa ahụ enwe commitment to ala amụrụ ya. Commitment. Ụmụnne anyị, how many of you nwere that commitment na ala amụrụ gị? Ole n'ime unu ga-eti aka n'obi si sọnsọ mụ enwere commitment na ala nne na nna mụrụ. Anyị ahapụ ala Igbo, lee ala Igbo, nne mụrụ nze mụọ ọzọ, lee ha ụmụ Igbo, onwere onye ka ọwụkwa n'anyị na ha wụ na anyị nwere ike ịpụta nyụkọ mmamịrị ọnụ. Ụmụ Israel na-atụ aka anyị na-atụ nke because ihe ọbụla ị chọwara ya ọ nọ n'ala Igbo. Ebe a sị na anaghị aba ewepụta ihe nwa afọ Igbo ga-aba ya were ihe ọgụ ifu nchịkọta ụmụnne ya gosi ha ụzọ. Ele ihe anyị ji anyị anaghị anụzi ube nwanne. Politics na-ekwo, ego na-ewe, nke ọzọ. You know, that is not the route. We have left the route of our forefathers. We need to go back to that route our forefathers hiwere anyị. Ọnụrụbe nwanne agba n'ọsọ. In politics, ọnụrụbe nwanne agba n'ọsọ. Ndị na-agara anyị Abuja, ndị na-aga nọchite anya anyị, mana gọọmenti house dị iche iche n'ala Igbo. Ndị gọvanọs anyị, ndị senators, ndị House of Assembly. Unu a na-anụ ube nwanne ebe unu nọ. Ka ọwụ sọnsọ na-akpa gị, me, myself and me, ezinụlọ m, unu were sarin na-egbo pịa. Unu hụ ndị agadi ụmụnne unu ha na-akpagharị agụọ. Common the circle, regular circle of life. Some people can't even achieve it. Common circle, rie nri nyụọ ọshị. Rie nri nyụọ ọshị, o nwere achievement ọ bụ? No, it's just a circle of life. Irie ya ga-enyopịa, that's gone. But people cannot achieve it. Ị na-achịgharị ego, ị na-eme big man. Obiọma na-akpa gị, ihu ka ibe gị gba ọnụ na-akpagharị. It is wicked. Anyị niile ịgaghachi. Enwere ndị na-eme nke bụ ezigbo ihe, Chineke gozie unu. Mana ịhụ na ndị nke awụ, me, myself and me, arụ ụlọ ebe a, arụ ụlọ ebe a, arụ ụlọ ebe a, arụ ebe ibu onye ara. Lee na onye ara o buru ibu ya na-anya ibu, na-achụ gịnị ka onye ara bụ? Vanity upon vanity, onwe ihe bara uru onye ara bụ. That is what we are doing. Ma ndị ga-egwu ala lie ego. Ngwa, look at mentality. Egwu ala elie ego. Ego iberibe nke ahụrụ ya na-ebe. Emere anyị ihe nke eme. Nigerians a na-achị anyị ọchị n'ụwa niile. Ọkwa brain ka ibu on top of our skull. Egwu ala lie ego. Ebe ndị mmadụ na-eribe nri. People can't even eat and poo. Igwu ala lie ego. Onye nwanne ya gba ọnụ gbara ọtọ. Ihe a na-agba agba ọgwụbe, ihere ya na-eme gị. Nwanne gị gba ọnụ gbara ọtọ. Ị na-akpagharị, na-achịgharị ego, ị na-atụ aka, eme ekeke. Hebeo, ka m si mekwuo hebeo. Ndị na-emetie na-enyere ụmụnne ha, na-enyere ụmụ Igbo anyị aka, Chineke gozie unu. Mana ndị nke a na-achịgharị ego, ụmụnne unu na-agba ọtọ gbara ọnụ. Onye nwanne ya gba ọtọ gbara ọnụ, lekwe ihere gị. Lekwe maka ihe aka ise eji ha ọ Chukwu kere otu ahụ. So that all of them can help each other and achieve a unified whole and do whatever they want to do. But nke ya enyekwara ọtọ, enutuo meso m wee eze ga-akwụ ọtọ. Ị ga ịnara ego ama m bịa lee. That was how we lost the civil war. Ụmụnne anyị anara ego chịkọta ndị a, ha abịa gbusisi ụmụnne. Emechaa naanị ka ị gbachara ele buutu gị. Ele ebe buutu gị nọ. Ke ndị a na-egbuzi, ke ndị ka nọ na agha. If not na Chineke goziri ụmụ Igbo, ebe ka ị chere anyị ka ga-anọ? Ego ole ka e nyere ụmụ Igbo after alụchara agha? Aha gị nọrọ n'ihe na-eme n'ala Igbo, na-emebi ala Igbo. Mara na ị ga-akụ ala free. Because ọnụ mmadụ wụ ọnụ mmụọ. Ịhụ na ndị niile a na-ata ahụhụ na-asụrụ gị n'ala na iche na ọ ga-ala na mkpọrọ. No. Chineke kere anyị niile na-anụ ihe niile. So we should desist from this cruelty. Onwe uru ọbara. Ka ọ bụrụ m ka a ga na-efe gị wu gịnị? Ka ọ bụrụ m ka a ga-ekwupụ. Ndị chọọchị ka bụ eme. Ọ ndị a ka ha na-echi echichi dị iche iche. Ndị chọọchị chie ha nke eru na harvest and bazaar, ha abịa ha na-atụ aka elu, a na-eto ha unbeatable, 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 unbeatable. Ebe agụọ na-agụgbu ndị gbara gị gburugburu. Ego ị ga-eji lete ndị bụ na were na-arụ ụlọ onye ara everywhere in the world. Iche n'ọwa achievement. Achievement is the love you're able to show the other person, the help you're able to do, give to the other person. Ihe imegoro developmental, ihe imegoro ndị bụ na, that is the love, that is your personality, that is what history will remember about you. Ngaghị ego. Gaa lee ndị niile buru ego n'oge gara aga, ele ebe ha nọ. Ebe ka ego ndị ahụ nọ. Vanity upon vanity, vanities. So onye na-eme ya na-echeta na echi dị ime kwọrọ nwa n'azụ, ma ihe ọ ga. Ha buru ego, ha ebupụcha agụụ a na-agụgbu ndị mmadụ. Election ruo, ha ebupụtezi ego na-eme anyị pọpi saa, na-enye gị 10 kobo, 5 kobo, 1,000, 5,000, 10,000. Ajechọ ndị politician gobicha ha, ajeburu ballot. Ọkwa ndị youth anyị na-eje ebu ballot box. Ndị youth ike ibu ballot box ọgwụbeghị ọnụ. Election unu jeje butere ha ballot box, ha enye unu kai na gufu, nye unu nwa ruru ego. Unu ka na-abata maka election dị on. Owinu ha na-akpachie gates. Jee kụọ aka na security jụọ gị ihe ị na-achọ. Oworube mgbe anyị ga-amara ihe. Na ndị agadi niile a na-especulate ha onwe mgbe ha ga-eretire from politics. Nyekwanụ youth ka ha chia obodo mepa ihe. Unu aga-emobilize onwe unu, ndị youth chọọ ihe ga-anata ihe ruru unu. Jụọ ndị agadi ekwe nke a na-achịbi. Si ha ngwa jenu zuo ike ka anyị chịwa. Lee n'ụwa niile ndị young people na-achọ ịga n'Africa. ndị agadi ogere Nigeria ozi ọcha acha bute ịmara ha na otu esi mobilize ndị na-ebu ballot box na ndị akpa obi na ihe ịmara na ijewego ndị youth ọkwa anyị ka ọka njọ n'ahụ unu ga-enyere onwe unu aka ndị a na-edinye unu ọgwa ụmụ ha nọkwa ala bekee na-eriri wee bubu ya ejiri unu mere talks na ndị dị mma ịnwụ anwụ so anyị ga-echịkọta onwe anyị ọnụ hapụ ikwezi ka a na-eyuzu anyị against ourselves because ihe ọbụla ndị a na-eke gị 1 naira echi ha asị ha after all unu nara anyị ego ha ga na-abụ n'afọ na akpa ha ihe na-ebe na-ebekwa anyị na-achọwa Naijiria ọwụghị n'ezi anyị chọwanụ Biafra anyị nwanụ ụfọdụ gaa n'azụ ha ga nara ego rie a na-agba ma ndị ga-abịa na platforms dị iche iche ụmụ Biafra nọ ha na-ede nonsense because ego biene ha na-ede ihe na-enweghị isi n'ọdụ onweghị ka ị na-eme agbarachakwa ọsọ a ga-agụ mine so ọ ka mma na anyị nyere onwe anyị aka ma ndị na-eme election ruo onweghị ha na-emere ndị be ha election ruo ha lọtaba ize election na-eke ego ịwụrụ onye youth dịrị onye anyị ga-ego were ego rie ọ jee tinye ya n'ụmụ agbara were ya n'ụmụ agbara rie ya onweghị ihe ụmụ agbara na-eme gị maka ụmụ agbara etigbu onye nwa na-eje ebukọrọ ego anyị ọ wụrụzie gị nwa o nyere 5,000 gbu ego gị ka ụmụ agbara ga-etigbuzi ụmụ agbara ma ihe ha ma na-ekwezina ka ha na-eji ụmụ agbara na-aghọgbu unu ọ ga-aga n'ụmụ agbara ọfọ bịa soro ibe ya ree ọkwa ịtụcha ọfọ ha sị gị ngwa gị jụọ ogo ịgọcha ọfọ jụọ n'ogu ihe m ga-eji eje etigbu onye nyere 10,000 mana ibu millions gwuo ala lie ya na-ebugharị etigbu ha gị ụlọ ekwezina ha na-aghọgbu unu ha nye unu ego rie ya ọwa ego anyị na kane ha rie ya unu ga tinye ụmụ Biafra n'ọchịchị ka anyị sigodi n'ụlọ mara mma pụwa anyị rụzie otu a elekshọn Anambra na-abịa jekwa na ebe ahụ ndị na-abịa ibu ballot box chebiri na ha ebe ahụ ka anyị mara ma ndị ahụ ihe na-eme ha n'isi because we cannot continue like this doing the same thing and expecting a different result. It will not work. Ụfọdụ atụcha anya unu jide result unu onye bi eto election na your booth ọ bụrụ na ha ejighị result sheet don't allow them to start the election because sometimes ha bịa ebunye INEC eburu material bịa but they will not come with the result sheet. Ede ya ebe a ga na-ede ya buru ya gawa Abuja all that result sheet ka ọ ga-emeru ha na ndị judiciary ha gobichara esize na result sheet ahụ bunye ha wụzie ndị winner election mana na field work ọwụ ha win. We have to pay attention to all these things. If we don't pay attention, it will keep happening. And when it happens, we cannot do anything. Right at that place, the field work, about a result sheets. If you don't have result sheets, no election. And may everywhere. Oh, why me have go biru for the mayor. Enye gị nnu na ndị ụmụ nwaanyị enye ha rice matches nke nwa nnu ị ga-eri for 8 years ka how many years ka ị ga-eri ha nyere gị ha aga ha na-abụbọrịrịwa ha na ezinụlọ ha na-egburu unu sarin unu na-akụrụ ha aka nwanne m ihe nsi m ekwu anyị chịkọta onwe anyị ọnụ ka onwe ike dapụjiri anyị mma maka ụkwụ anyị jọ ụkwụ na-amaji aga ụmụahịa but we know what to do. It's just that we don't want to do it. Ndị ọ na-efavor don't want to do it. But anyị ga-apụta n'igwe so that ụmụnne anyị na-ama ụzọ esi eje Abuja ha garacha ha lọtawa bịa meet anyị n'ala Igbo anyị gwa ha na mmadụ nwa obodo ewu nata. You know?
Thank you so much.
Nwanne m daalụ.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. That was our sister Ifeoma Nwadike. You cannot beat that advice. It is a typical Igbo woman and a typical Biafran. You can hear, when you hear them, you know that you are being ministered to. And God uses people to speak to us. And, you know, it was quite interesting to me when you mentioned about Onye Kwurote Ebutu Omia Somu Beze Gakwoto Nowa. I'm Igbo too. And I grew up with those songs, and it actually called my memory back. And I was wondering, why do we create this type of song to be singing? You know, when you call out and then you see that thing, it begins to happen because that's what we're saying with our mouth. You know, so you know, rather than Chineke. So, and it becomes a problem to us. This is where our culture has whittled down. And I've seen certain songs that they sing that, I find very adulterated, so spiritually adulterated. But, Hana Gwegwa Hadama, ọpụtasị onye Chineke mere eze na mmadụ apụghị na ya mgbo. Kedu Chineke mere eze ahụ? Kedu how you sure not Chineke mere eze? And why are you stoking envy? If I would just, and part of it is also looking for attention. Onye Chineke mere eze mmadụ apụghị na ya. You're supposed to know somebody anamaghị ya. So, they create a society where over every time people are thinking of either onye ana n'ife ma onye na-anị anya. This is the point, that our people spiritually or did dead even when they worship God. Or saying Nasime Fenaya, Obugi Gemere me for Nemeremo, Inas, what are you going to do? You are acting as if here that you're worshiping God because of what He did for you. Yeah, fine. But your song is in the spirit realm. It looks like what you're saying is, if He didn't do it for me, I will do something else. You will worship God whether He has done it for you or not. Period. That's what it is. Because He created you, He will decide your fate. Forget what all the other thing you're talking about. It gives you a spirit of loyalty and understand your relationship to God. That you are not a competitor or a negotiator with God. He has His rules, and that you should keep. So, elections in Nigeria. Thank you so much, Sister Ifeoma Nwadike, for that advice. We have so many things to share with our people, but we have actually come almost to a close for today. I would like our panelists to give us their closing remarks from Mazi Ahmefulu Kando, then Chuksi Kedigwe, and Ifeoma Nwadike. And we will come to a close. Mazi Ahmefulu Kando, if he's there, if I can be connected to him to give us his closing remarks. That would be good. Wonderful.
Yes, thank you again, Mazi Moralo. If you notice, I was out of the broadcast for some time. Just too many things taken care of here. But anyway, I am back for now. I really want to thank our sister who just finished her own presentation. That's another iron lady we have now. I am so happy with her. She knows what the deal is. So, my sister, thank you very much for your contributions. Now, in summarizing everything we have done, we're on the right track. With every day that goes by now, I get happier knowing fully well that many more people have come to understand, to the point that even extending it down to African countries, because each and every one of these African countries have to know what we are talking about. We don't want them to be looking at it now. It is an Igbo thing or Biafra thing. No, it is the African black woman's problem. God has put it in us to be able to champion it. In any situation, you have to have people who lead it. So our broadcast will continuously soften the ground for everybody, so that we can now destroy that negative narrative that has existed for centuries. It has not done us good. We'll keep on telling the truth of what has happened, letting every black person know that the Fulanis who have said that they are not blacks, they are not really blacks, they are Arabs who came down and mingled in Africa. You heard when Mazio Chinawata said it. Yeah, they are the Fulani, the Arabs who came mingled with blacks. They are the Fulanis. That's the true characterization of them. But they are so greedy that they want it all. That's why wherever they step their foot, they want to take it. But the buck stops with us. That's why they hate us. especially the Igbos and the Biafrans in Nigeria. Again, we want Nigerians to understand, and the blacks, Africans, know that we are fighting the fight, just like what happened in Haiti. Haiti is made up mostly of Igbos. They are the ones that fought the Napoleon War and dealt with Napoleon. If you all don't know, that is why the white man, they hate us, Biafrans, because we really humiliated them in Haiti. So these are facts we have to know. But we are very peaceful people. We want to be respected. We want, and we give respect to people back. We do not go anywhere to take over. We go anywhere we go, we try to contribute to the dynamics of that society or the environment we find ourselves. That narrative must be re-established. It has not been established. We are going to re-establish it. So, in concluding, for me, if you notice the inefficiencies in Nigeria, it is done by the Fulanis, because the ones they only thrive in an environment of chaos. That is their game plan at all times. So let us learn to work together, begin untying all those criminal tendencies of bribing people with their own money, stealing their money, taking their money and using it again to bribe you. Look at what is happening. Some of our governors and so on going to become Muslims just because they are using our own money and bribing you and putting you under their tutelage. We are not going to allow this to continue. But we try to let you know that you did all those things out of mistake to help you to pull out from being used by the Fulanis. That's how we're really going to focus everything in Radio Biafra International. We want to clarify that. We don't want you all to be saying Hausa Fulanis anymore. It is Fulanis. The Hausas were the ones, the first people that the Fulanis took advantage of. And that's why they are using them today. And usually when they want to get them all, they say one northern Nigeria. One northern Nigeria at all times. And then they will include the Middle Belt. But thank God the Middle Belters have now come to the realization that they have used them and that they have used them enough. This is the place of Gowan, Danjuma, and so on. The zone of the great generals of Nigerian army. Those are the Middle Belters. So I would like you all to understand that we have to work with them. We have to work with the Yorubas, the Southwest as well, and the former Eastern region. That's a major task for us to start as quickly as possible to make sure we bring back our brothers and sisters so that we can now start working and correcting most of the mistakes of the past. Okay? And they purposely put in that abandoned property thing to keep on reminding us that look at what our brothers did to us. But we have overcome that. We started with $20. As a matter of fact, I'm one of the people that got the $20 because they came to the high school, Methodist Boys High School, Zakole, where I went. Yeah, they gave us the $20. Thank God, the $20, 20 pounds. That's how we started. That's how we went back to school and took the school start and so on and so on. So let us try to forget about the abandoned property. We have survived because abandoned property is a gimmick to constantly put Eastern region not to work together. Because when you go down to Port Harcourt and the South today, the oil, the NNPC is filled up with Northerners. But the Southerners who own the land there are virtually do not have any positions in the NNPC, refinery and so on. So you guys should understand that part of the major things we're going to be doing in our broadcast in Radio Biafra International is to begin correcting the narratives amongst us bringing our people together. That should be our focus at all times, and challenging the Fulanis. Thank you very much, Madam Mogalo. And members of the panel, thank you very much for the job well done today. God bless each and every one of you. For Chukwokike Abiyama, it's around the corner. It's gradually bringing us together. God bless you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, our brother Amefulu Kando. Your words are sweet as water poured on the head. Thank you so much for that counsel to our people and advice. Chuksi Kedigwe, I want Chuksi to give his closing remarks. Our brother Chuksi Kedigwe.
Okay, thank you. Thank you once more. My closing remark today will be in two parts. One will be that as we go into 2021-22, they're going to be this about people being used to tell us the wonderful thing Buhari has done for us, the Buhari and the Fulanis. In fact, they've started. They'll show you the picture of the second Niger bridge, and they will tell you, oh, your brother couldn't do it for you. He's the Fulani man that you hate so much that did it for you. That this man loves you so much. He's doing wonderful things in the southeast and the south. And then you begin to ask, how come this man loves us so much? The man that called us 5%er and vowed that he will never give us anything except things due for the 5%, that will never be treated like the 97%. So how does he love us? Because they're going to come with this crafty way. Tell you because he built second Niger bridge, he loves us so much. So you begin to ask them, how come this man that has called us 5% love us so much? How come this man that has said and has never seen any one of us that he can appoint into the security architecture in Nigeria? How come he loves us so much? You must be able to respect. We must to take off this book, because within us is where this people will be paid to make us to sell this fake narrative of Buhari and the Fulanis loving us. They've started it. We must be wary of them. We must look out for those who will sell those narratives, and we must actually confront them with the realities on ground. And what are the realities on ground? The realities on the ground is that the man has said it, that he has never seen people who are competent from our own region of the country. Because each time he will tell you about competency. And as far as it's concerned, only people from his axis of the country are competent enough to do it. And then you begin to ask, even the second Niger bridge has been sold for us as a dummy. Who actually started it? Was the payment for it not made before Buhari came in and stopped the contract, revised it, and they came up again to make it look as if his own personal contract? And then every other loot money that they recover, they will tell us they are going to use it for the second Niger bridge. The same second Niger, they've told us that the money was intact from the outset. For every other stolen money they recover, they will tell us they are going to use part of it for the second Niger bridge. We must be very, very factual of these dummies that they are selling for us. We are not dummies. We must look out for the realities. The second Niger bridge, we must investigate it and know exactly what is happening. And we must also forget, as I tell you that how Buhari is so good about the second Niger bridge, we mustn't forget the fact that the second Niger bridge is a private sector participation. In other words, that bridge is going to be taxed. We have to pay tolls on that bridge for about 20 years. And the bridges from its own end, nobody's taxing them. Nobody's going to pay tolls on them. Then how does he love us? How does the Fulanis love us? They will say that dummy for them. So that's selling it. Our people must be careful. Our people must be wise. Our people must look out for the truth. Nobody must sell dummies for us again. If you have to change the narrative, this is the way to change the narrative. Hit them with the truth and they will run. He hasn't shown us any love. He hasn't done anything extraordinary for us. If there's anything he has done, he has been to show us wickedness, promising us that he will never treat us exactly the others have been treated. And then he has actually followed it more over and over and over and over, and he has done it all over. So let's get those facts well. Let's let it be our pledge to shoot each time this paid agent of the foot soldiers of the Buhari and his other Fulanis come. And another thing we must actually get the second part of my closing remark would be we just have to put our telescope, our microscope on how this ISIS has been receiving funds, so that we know exactly who is murdering Christians and who is killing them. The essence of government is to secure lives and properties, and for Buhari to always, for the government to always look the other way, why people in southern Kaduna are being killed, and you begin to wonder why was the essence of him coming on board? Because before Buhari came, they made him look like a hero. They made him look as the army general who will come and secure lives and properties. But we are here now. 5 years down the line, we've seen that this man is incapable of even keeping his own family. Killing has become the order of the day. And then we begin to ask the question, was this man not the same person who was sold to us as the solver, the rescuer of humanity, who has come to pass judgment on Daniel? We mustn't forget those things. We mustn't forget those who sold that evil man to us as a savior. So we must, as they try to sell all that dummies for us, we must always watch out, because whatever they tell us, we must critically analyze them. We mustn't fear for the sweet tongues of the Nigerian government and every other thing. If the government couldn't save the life of their so-called one northerners, I bet you they will never save the life of the so-called Eastern countrymen. They will never do that. So, and one thing again, and I appreciate the Catholic bishops coming out there to call on people to defend themselves. That actually shows that these people knows that the government can never do anything, and that's what they're calling on us to self-defend ourselves, self-defend our life, self-defend our community, and that's the task that we must all do now. It's task that we must all imbibe as a caution now, because if you don't save yourself, nobody will do it. The government will never do. Rather, the government will come out and claim it's a revenge killing, or claim the killing was a reprisal attack. So we just have to. And I thank God for the Catholic bishops for coming out with that communique, and all the other ministers who are sleeping. I also want them to join this noble cause. Let the people know that they must save their life. This is no more time to pray when the enemy is at the gate. No, this is time to meet the enemy at the gate. And the best thing to do to meet the enemy at the gate is to get ready to defend the land, defend the people, especially men, especially the women, the aged, and the children. So we meet again. Have a nice night's sleep. Bless you all. Thank you. This is Chooks signing out.
Thank you so much, Chooks Ikediwe, for that closing remark. It's always good to have you around. It's always good to hear your voice and get the analysis, the deep analysis that you give as to the events back home. There's something you said about Niger Bridge, deceiving our people. We read these things in newspapers and so on and so on, but they're all deception, lies. They're putting up on the media. And the media itself is bought over. That's why when we talk about Biafra, we say it's going to be different. It's going to be different because we're not going to give the power of mass information on somebody's hands or anybody in government. No, it has to be the people. The people will do it. If we will contribute money to maintain that, we will do it. We will pay tax and maintain it. But people will be free to go there and speak, whether their views are reasonable or not. And I say reasonable or not, because once you say it has to be reasonable, the people in power will define what is reasonable for you, which means don't criticize me. Don't say what I've done. So they're going to be free speech in a different way in Biafra. And I remember you said, Chooks, again about second Niger Bridge. And sometimes, they've been saying that for the past 30 years or 40 years, more than 40 years, second Niger Bridge, just talk, and they put it up there. It's a deception, political deception. You're dealing with people who are not truthful. They are certainly very insincere and not frank at all when they do anything. So they are not going to change. And people should stop talking about, stop seeing that as the ultimate as well. As important as it is, they shouldn't sort of limit their demands to that. The most important thing to do for the East is seaport, international seaport, functional international seaport. Our people should be demanding that. Political leaders never demanded it over time. And then there is international airport, international airport. Lagos is already congested. They don't want to build any because it's a conspiracy against our people to ensure that we are strangulated economically and made to be weak politically as well. But the one that hurts is that these people are even plotting to kill us. They are killing us. That's where you know you're dealing with you. These people are not human beings. The way they are acting, you're getting to the extent of killing the person after doing all this evil against him, but you're plotting to kill him. That must be resisted, honestly, and God will not allow it to happen. I'm telling you. So thank you so much, Manzi Ikediwe, for your comradeship on these issues and how you have raised your voice and to speak the truth for our people. I would like to invite our last guest here, our sister, wonderful sister who has delivered a wonderful lecture. I would say it was a treatise, or a discourse on our social and political, cultural, moral standards, which is very, very important that we listen to her. And I hope this message gets through to everybody. So I would like her to give the closing remarks for the day before we close. Our sister, Ifeoma Nwadike.
I'm thanking everybody that made contribution. I'm thanking the presenter as well. It's been a long day and a lot has been said. We can only hope and pray and wish for a better Igbo and the realization of our Biafra, dreams. We've waited for this Biafra for long. Our forefathers spilled their blood to bring about Biafra. And after many years gone, we're still talking about Biafra. We want to pray that God Almighty will help us, appealing to our brothers and sisters to embrace togetherness, embrace oneness, because united we stand, but divided we fall. Just like Ukwaziza, ọnọkọta ọnụ, ị gaghị agbajinwe, mana iwere ofu ofu gị gbajie ya within minutes. So that is life and that is the truth. So ụmụ Igbo niile ka anyị bịa united, ka anyị dị in unity. Onweghị ihe dị ka ịdị in unity. Igbo kwesịrị ịhụ onwe ha n'anya because nwa afọ Igbo ọbụla na-agba mbọ. Anyị na-agba mbọ onweghị nwa afọ Igbo na-achọ iwe liability. So ọ bụrụ na anyị hụ onwe anyị n'anya na-enyere onwe anyị aka, na-aga ije dịrị ụmụ Igbo dịka ụmụ Igbo, collective welfare. Let's embrace collective welfare. Ka ọ hapụ ịwụzi me, myself, and me, individual living. Because all this individual approach to life, Mary, nwebe ihe anyị nwetere per se. Because ndị mba ndị ọzọ amara na anyị adịghị n'otu. That's what they say. That's what they believe because they see it working out. Ha ga lobby a few people, then ndị ọzọ ihe ha hụziri ha mee, ndị ahụ awụrụzie ọnụ na-ekwuru ndị ọzọ. So nwekwa na ihe ndị ọzọ aka na-eru ha n'ihe ga-emeti. But o nwere ụmụ Igbo ndị ọkpụrụkpụ mmadụ, ụmụ Igbo ga-eme ha pụta kwuo okwu baa mba, ege ha ntị. Ndị dị otu a, unu gaa ije, unu na-aga afọ, unu na-ala afọ. Chetenụ na anyị wu ofu. Chetenụ na anyị niile ga-abịakọta ọnụ. Onye ọbụla achịkọta ọnụ so that ndị ọzọ ewere anyị kpọrọ ihe. Ọ ga-awụ onye na-ekwu n'elu ibe ya na-akọ n'ala. Onye aga ebe ọ nara, onye aga ebe ọ nara, onye aga ebe ọ nara. That's what brings about. If you follow things fall apart, the white man batara, we know some over. And that was how they lost their clan, you know. I still remember what the one this thing now things fall apart. That the white man is wise and crafty. He came quietly and peacefully with his religion. We were amused at his folly and allowed him to stay. But now he has won over our brethren, and our clan can no longer act as one. He has used a thing to cut us, you know, and we are falling apart. You know, he has used a knife to cut those things that held us together, and we have fallen apart. Those things that held us together, and we are falling apart. And they call autonomous community. Tell me why people cannot get the dividends of democracy based on their numbers. Why must it be based on autonomous community? Because actually more and more and more. Because how are divided, we must fall. You know, and somehow in that autonomous community, the old platform, nobody revisits it. They will forget about it. Oh, yeah, but run one autonomous community, and what would you achieve just in that individual setting of yours? You know, maybe through town union or maybe through here. To your tent, O Israel. So you can get one a wide and more. You know, but that's how they know to deal with us, because they want to divide and rule us, because they know that is the pattern that will work. They don't mind here so much. But the only thing I name with unity of purpose. If we can embrace unity of purpose, we can achieve anything we set our mind to achieve now. So ụmụnne m, udo dịrị unu, dịkwara anyị onwe anyị, ka anyị wepụta unity of purpose, commitment to fatherland, commitment to ala Igbo, ka ala Igbo dị mma, ọ dị mma taa, ọ ga-adịrị gawa n'ihu. Chineke gọzie anyị niile. Ise.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sister Ifeoma Nwadike. Your advice for unity amongst our people, I believe, is very important, and I believe it will have its very tremendous effect on us as a people to abide by it for our own good. To support what you just said, I will quote what Odumewu Ojukwu said here. He said, the first and perhaps the only thing we need to do at this present time is to nurture and strengthen internal unity and cohesion in the Igbo nation. Our Republican nature and unbridled individualism needs to bow to the collective Igbo interest. I'll say it again. Our Republican nature and unbridled individualism needs to bow to the collective Igbo interest. In the past, before we became incrementally irrelevant in Nigeria, the Igbo State Union provided impregnable support machinery for Igbo political interests in Igbo land and Nigeria. This was what he said. And even I need myself personally to begin to be to increase my involvement into the issues that concern us as a people. Because we are a people and hold identity. Let nobody tell you that identity doesn't matter. You know, because this was some people say, oh, well, you know, yeah, the identity of the other person matters. It should matter to you. But so is also yours, because your own identity is there. And a lot of things that will come to you in life will come to you because of that identity. And God never canceled identity. He knew people by names. He created them. And they have names. If you read the scriptures, you'll be seeing Moabites, Philistines, Canaanites, Israelites, Edomites, you know, Gigashites, all of them. These are names and identity. Egyptians, all of them. Babylonians, they are Greek people, you know. So their identity is normal with life. Different language, different culture, this, that. It is God that created them. So please let nobody tell you that losing your own is what you should do. It's usually people who don't want you to hold your own, but they will hold their own while they're telling you to lose your own. So please, let's not allow that. Thank you so much, my dear sister, Ifoma Wadike, for that closing remark. And I'll use this opportunity to thank our anchor, our main anchor, Mazia Nemena, the engineer that is behind it. She is the root and pillar of this broadcast, Biafran Restoration Movement and Radio Biafra International. We thank him so much. We can't thank him enough. He's such a round-the-clock hard worker. In fact, you have to plead with him to rest, to please rest, because we don't want to lose him. So we thank Mazi Anemena, Leonard Anemena, for this. And he's a computer scientist and, is an international one, has very international repute. And we thank God for people like that serving us. And from me, Odimo Alo, I'll say to you, goodbye for now, and God bless you.
Radio Biafra International, empowering the people.
Yes, this is not the kind of debate. All we want is Biafra people. All we want is Biafra. All we want is freedom. All we want is Biafra. All we want is freedom. Oh Lord, my God. Oh Lord, my God. We need our freedom. We need our peace to reign. We need our freedom. We need some peace to reign. Killing and fighting everywhere. We need some peace to reign. Zombies everywhere. Brothers do not know his brothers anymore. Let us keep our heads together as one. Peace to reign. Oh Lord, my God. All we want is Biafra. All we want is freedom. All we want is Biafra.
Rebecca and the beat. I am here calling you, oh Lord, praying to you, singing to you, oh Yahushua, because they made us slaves in our own land. I can remember once upon a time in the Bible where the Israelites used songs and praises to bread on the wall of Jericho. This is the kind of miracle we need for our freedom. We know you can answer us as you answer Israelite the days of their slavery in Egypt. Them are shoot us, them are kill us, bloodshed everywhere. Give us Biafra, give us freedom. Oh Lord, Yahushua, I call upon you.
All we want is Biafra. All we want is freedom. All we want is Biafra. All we want is freedom.
The more we fight together, the more we fight together, the stronger we shall be. The more we fight together, the more we fight together, and stronger we shall be.
Rising sun, rising sun.
Biafra is the only hope of Africa. Biafra is the only hope of Africa. Believe it or leave it, Biafra is the only hope of Africa. We've been crying, the world cannot to heed. and we be lamenting. The world cannot hear our tears flow. The world cannot see, and our blood flow. The world cannot see. This is a crime, oh no, against humanity. Oh no, this is a crime. Eritrea spoke up. They were given independence. South Sudan spoke. They were given independence. Namibia spoke up. They were given independence. Give me the reason my people got to be neglected. Give me the reason my people got to be rejected. Give me the reason our freedom got to be a crime. Give me the reason our own freedom got to be denied. Hey, Biafra is the only hope of Africa. I tell you what, Biafra is the only hope of Africa. Hey, Biafra is the only hope of Africa. Believe it or leave it. Oh no. Whoa. That was physical battle, and we're betrayed by the people them trust. Today zeros are fighting. This is a spiritual battle. Let us unite and give Biafra a meaning. If we don't take time, we can't remain in this life. No freedom of speech, no freedom of expression, no freedom of worship, no freedom of religion. Justice denied. Oh, no. Of my own very people. Hey. Justice denied. Hey. On the rising sun. Hey. Justice denied. Oh, my freedom fighter. Yeah. What is so bad? My people wanna be liberated. What is so bad? My people wanna be independent. What is so bad? My people wanna be alone. This is the time we will make it known to the world. Hey, Biafra is the only hope of Africa. Biafra is the only hope of Africa. Biafra is the only hope of Africa. I tell you what, Biafra is the only hope of Africa. Hospitality, positive, education, positive, economic, positive, hospitality. I tell you what, positive. Biafra is the only hope of Africa. Biafra is the only hope of Africans. I tell you what, Biafra is the only hope of Africa. Hey, Biafra is the only hope of Africa. My people will cry. Biafrans will cry. My people are suffering. Oh, Biafrans are crying.
Biafra is proud to launch its new mobile app. This app makes it easier for listeners to access live and repeat broadcasts at any given time. The app is available on Android and Apple stores and is free to install, so just search for Radio Biafra into all one word to get the app on your device.
Radio Biafra International broadcasts are always anchored on well-researched information and not based on personalities, frivolities, and foul languages. The main objective of Radio Biafra International is to empower Biafrans and give them knowledge through professionally delivered information, education, and enlightenment towards the ultimate goal of restoration of the nation of Biafra.
So don't forget, Radio Biafra into all one word.
And join us during our podcasts, and you'll be glad you did.
Radio Biafra International, empowering the people.
Truer words were never spoken. The less you associate with some people, the more your life will improve. Anytime you tolerate mediocrity in others, it increases your mediocrity. An important attribute in successful people is their impatience with negative thinking and negative acting people. As you grow, your associates will change. Some of your friends will not want you to go on. They will want you to stay where they are. Friends that don't help you climb will want you to crawl. Your friends will stretch your vision or choke your dream. Those that don't increase you will eventually decrease you. Consider this. Never receive counsel from unproductive people. Never discuss your problems with someone incapable of contributing to the solution, because those who never succeed themselves are always first to tell you how. Not everyone has a right to speak into your life. You are certain to get the worst of the bargain when you exchange ideas with the wrong person. Don't follow anyone who's not going anywhere. With some people, you spend an evening. With others, you invest it. Be careful where you stop to inquire for directions along the road of life. Wise is the person who fortifies his life with the right friendships. If you run with wolves, you will learn how to howl. But if you associate with eagles, you will learn how to soar to great heights. A mirror reflects a man's face, but what he is really like is shown by the kind of friends he chooses. The simple but true fact of life is that you become like those with whom you closely associate, for the good and the bad. Note, be not mistaken. This is applicable to family as well as friends. Yes, do love, appreciate, and be thankful for your family, for they will always be your family, no matter what. Just know that they are human first, and though they are family to you, they may be a friend to someone else and will fit somewhere in the criteria above. In prosperity, our friends know us. In adversity, we know our friends. Never make someone a priority when you are only an option for them. If you are going to achieve excellence in big things, you develop the habit in little matters. Excellence is not an exception, it is a prevailing attitude.
Radio Biafra International, empowering the people.